You continue to sail forward, but you're not sailing straight towards the island. And as you kind of check out your crew, some of them still drying themselves off, shaking out their mane, retaking their stations, trying to repair pieces of the ship that were injured in the pseudo crash. Rookh-Ohn, you will see Wolf here, the one who sails the ship, the one who guides the ship, the oldest among the crew, his hair and his fur long since gray and white. He steps forward along the deck towards the side where the sunken galleon lies off of that you're sailing past. And you can see him grit his square teeth. He wraps his strong fingers around the railing at the fore of the ship, and he's staring a little vacantly towards the bearded lady, towards the crash.
Rookh-Ohn approaches.
See, that is the flaw of the galleon. It cannot turn fast enough. It cannot propel fast enough. It is doomed in situations like these. We are the best there is. Steer us to that island.
Yes. It is just first. And he turns towards you, that dull look in his eyes. I think I'd like to go for a swim. And he leans his body weight to the left and begins to tip over the side of the ship towards the water and the reef.
Do I have a moment to grab him? Or like
roll me an athletics check.
21.
You manage to grab onto his arm, and he reaches up and grips your wrist with his offhand, and he's staring back to the water beyond, back to the ship beyond, and then back up to you. It is all right, Captain. Let me go. She calls to me.
I don't recall giving you permission to leave the boat. Get back in your station.
Give me another athletics check. This one opposed. He tries to fight away from your wrist, but he's old and you're stronger and younger than he is. You are able to pull him back up to the ship, if you so desire.
Absolutely.
Do I hear this going on? I'm not sure how big this vessel is, and since we're in kind of a stormy way.
So it's not a large ship. It's just a crew of a dozen of you, now only 11. So you do see this. This would definitely strike you. As would Hesperona.
I take a look around and see if anyone else is suddenly wanting to go for a long walk off a short boat.
No one else seems to be moving towards the edge of the ship. In fact, most of them are kind of looking concerned as over to what's happened. They're muttering to themselves or to each other, but no one's moving towards the edge of the ship at the moment.
He's lost his mind. Perhaps it is time to let him swim. He is no longer the way of the warrior.
That is not how things work on my ship.
She gives a resounded nod, but reflexively goes for her long sword, and then places her arm back down by her side.
Wolf here is subdued after struggling against you for a couple of seconds. He doesn't move back to his post, though. He just kind of stares distantly, now looking off towards that maelstrom, that great distant whirlpool and green fire.
So is he like at his station steering and looking, or is he just looking?
He's just looking. Now, a younger crew member has jumped to his station to kind of steer and make sure that the ship is righted and moving now towards the shore of the nearby island.
Rookh-Ohn senses what's happening and what he has to do, looks down, looks back up,
Let this be a warning to everyone. Subordinance is weakness.
And then Rookh-Ohn rears back with his fist and punches him in the face.
At that point, I will begin stomping on the ship and in agreements with my commander, and happy to see some action being taken to this weakness.
You don't have to. Oh,
I was just gonna say, for just a moment, as Groneth looks and watches as the strike hits, as the older Minotaur was not paying attention, was not looking. It's a brief pause, and then he joins in the cheers for blood.
there is only one Minotaur that doesn't join your cheer besides Wolf here, and it is Kraga. Kraga steps forward as Wolf here stands kind of dazed. He's starting to blink, starting to come out of it, and she slowly reaches a hand towards Rookh-Ohn's shoulder.
Does she make contact, or is she still?
If she doesn't, she will if he doesn't try to stop her.
Rookh-Ohn goes for another punch in the face of Wolf here.
She pulls her hand back, and her face, although thoughtful at first, kind of hardens when you punch Wolf here a second time. And she says, "Enough. He is bewitched. Can you not see this? This is not weakness."
Rookh-Ohn, under his breath, looks over.
I'm aware. I'm breaking him out of it.
She bows her head slightly, her eyes darting back and forth thoughtfully, and then she nods a little bit and she begins to stomp with the others.
So Rookh-Ohn would like to take Wolf here, slam him against the mast, and then take any excess rope that's nearby and tie him to the mast.
He doesn't struggle against you, even though he's starting to kind of wake up a little bit. He doesn't say much. He wipes the blood out of his face. As you're tying him up to the mast and everyone else is cheering you on, I want each of you to make me a perception check.
I am
11.
too caught up in the bloodletting.
16 for Hesgroneth.
As Groneth, you see this as you look out beyond the mast of the ship to red waters. It comes from behind, from the direction of the pirate ship that you have sailed past, a dark shape at the edge of the pirate ship. Something black, not red like the rest of the sea. And it's floating away from the reef. It's moving in the opposite direction of the riptide. It's moving in the same direction that you are.
Captain! There! There! And he points to it.
Crew! Brace yourselves.
I'll go and cling around the side of the mast with both arms.
All of the crew instantaneously respond to your call. They draw their scimitars or whips or spears. They pull out their shields. Only the young one who's steering the ship remains at his post, besides Wolf here, who's tied to the mast. And even as everyone kind of goes for their arms, a sickly green fog rises up from the sea all around the ship, begins to hang over the deck of the long ship. Your first instinct is to gag. The cloud smells of meat gone bad, really, really bad. And it burns your eyes. For a few moments, it's hard to see and hard to breathe. Everyone make me a Constitution saving throw.
$20.
6.
And then Constitution 4 has Groneth.
It was 20. Sorry. It was 20 for Rookh-Ohn.
For Rookh-Ohn. What did Husgroneth get?
Husgroneth received a... What was that? I can't remember.
Constitution.
14.
Okay. So after a few moments of this fog rising from the red of the sea, this green fog, several of the crew, including Marala, stumble a little bit and begin to retch, dry heave. You feel like you need to empty the contents of your stomach. I need everyone to make me one more Constitution saving throw.
5, worse than before.
16 for Rookh-Ohn.
Husgroneth got a 23.
I am no amateur to the vomitorium. I vomit loudly and proudly.
I like to keep my dinner and beer.
Marala and another one of the crew are vomiting now, and they're tipping towards the edge as the ship rocks by another wave. This one coming up not from any wave from the sea, but from some sort of force underneath the ship. And I need an athletics check from Marala.
Strong 10.
Both this crew member and Marala are tipping over the edge of the ship as the ship is rocked again. Husgroneth and Rookh-Ohn, you both have the opportunity to try to save one of them.
Brother, save me!
Rookh-Ohn does nothing. Just kidding. Rookh-Ohn, whoever's closest, let's say it's Marala, will instinctively reach out to try to grab her wrist.
I will try to hang on with one hand in the rail and the other reach up my arm as far as I can.
Husgroneth will reach towards the other sailor. And you say it's an athletics check?
Make me an athletics check, each of you.
21.
At the same time, at the same moment, you each reach out and grab one of them and pull them back onto the deck of the ship. With, though, the appearance of the cloud, you can see now at the edge, looking down off the rails, that the dark shape in the water changes, shifts, no longer seeming to be made of some nebulous shadow. You can see now, rising from the blood sea, a beast nearly the size of your ship. It resembles a giant toad with webbed appendages and small wings. Wings too small, far too small to actually be used for flight. The creature's scales are red, the same color the sea it rises from, and those scales are decorated with yellow warts. It has large, beady black eyes that are half hidden behind bony ridges. And as it opens its mouth to reveal several terrible rows of teeth, it exudes the stink of rotten eggs, that same smell as the green fog that rises all around you. And you can see a long, forked tongue beginning to slide out from its open maw. I'll let each of you now make me a survival check.
7.
12.
7.
Rookh-Ohn, you're the one who recognizes this creature. Not that you've seen one before, but that you've heard the legends of them. This is an amphi-dragon. This is a mutated dragon that can only live beneath the water. It's said to be the offspring of a green dragon and a black dragon. And they are very intelligent, very hungry, and hateful creatures that are known to haunt these waters in particular. It's rising now towards the ship, and that tongue begins to flicker out from its mouth. And at this point, go ahead, everyone, and make me an initiative roll.
This isn't just a question. What kind of provisions do we have on the boat? Any barrels? Any?
Yeah, you would have water, ale, you'd have food, anything you needed for a long trip to get to the Blood Sea and back. It's not a
Save the ale! Oh, save the ale.
All right. So as we're moving here towards this fight, we're going to cut away for a second. Now the ship's speeding towards the rocky shore that's very close, being chased down by this sea dragon. I want to meet our other party member, our other adventurer for this evening. So, the waves crash roughly up against the rocky beach of a tiny island covered in dark, roiling fog. Sitting there on the beach, on a boulder, is a figure who once named himself Hawthorne, after the flower. Hawthorne has his back turned to the maelstrom's green fire and endless storm. Instead of looking at the maelstrom, he's staring out at the slightly calmer waters of the Blood Sea's outer ring. Welcome back, Mal. Thank you for joining us on the show again.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
So tell me, right now, what does Hawthorne look like? And tell me a little bit about what he's thinking about as he sits here staring out at the sea.
Well, he's kind of pale. He's probably a little hungry. And he's probably thinking about what he thinks about most of the time. And that's how to escape from a certain Sir Barnabas.
He's thinking about that. You can see in the distance, it looks like an approaching ship coming towards the shore. It's been a long time since you've had a ship come to the island.
Well, if they make it to the shore, this could prove extremely interesting. But there are many dangers in the reef, so I'll have to see what happens.
As you're watching, waiting to see if they'll make it, a small white rabbit hops up to sit on a little rock beside you. It too keeps its back turned towards the maelstrom, and you know that all of the beasts that venture outside on this island always look away from the storm, never towards it. As you're waiting, I'm wondering, does Hawthorne come here often? Does he brave the outside often?
Hawthorne braves the outside more often than most. Having been here for so many years, it's one of the few places he can be alone.
When he is alone, does he think about his old life, about what life was like before the cataclysm?
I think that he spends a lot of time planning various ways to exact his vengeance on Sir Barnabas, and that in turn leads him to thinking about that last few days.
What does he regret most from that last day in particular?
Well, there was one word after the death of a friend, and it weighs heavily on him when he thinks of those days, and that was love.
Does Hawthorne remember what it feels like to feel love, or has it been too long?
I think that there's a vague shadow of feelings that are not hate or anger, but they're pale in comparison to anything these days.
Right now, he is starving. And as you sit there watching the approach of this longship, he can hear the faint thump, 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 thump. It's coming from the rabbit next to him. Looking at it now as it sits there staring off into the distance with you, you can see its skull, its forehead, its brain pulsing just slightly beneath its fur.
I cannot ignore the need, the hunger. I will feed from it.
How does he do so? What does it look like?
With the rabbit being small enough and close enough, I would imagine he would grab it, and it would then have to survive the psychic attack that happens as he stares deep into the little rabbit's eyes.
Its little feet kick and kick. It tries to pull away from you, but it can't. It fails its saving throw. And Hawthorne, you feed not off of the blood of this creature, but off of what psychic energies it has. You feed off of its mind until its eyes go vacant and dull, its legs stop kicking, and finally its heart stops beating. The ship is getting close now. And so comes a thunderstorm behind it. And you can see now, Hawthorne, that the ship is in some sort of battle. It's being attacked by what you would recognize as an amphi-dragon, one of these giant, almost frog-like reptilians that haunt the waters around here.
Well, if the ship can handle that, they might be just what I'm looking for.
As you sit and wait and watch to see if they are capable of making it to the island, we're going to cut back to the thunderstorm and the crew as it fights against this dragon. And we're going to start the fight with Rookh-Ohn with a 21. Rookh-Ohn, you're going to go first. And just to get you in here in case it comes into play, Mal, you go ahead and roll me initiative as well. That'd be awesome. All right. So, Rookh-Ohn, this beast, you've just rescued Marala from falling into the water, and as you pull her back up onto the deck of the ship, this beast is already coming out of the water, its maw opening, its tongue lashing outwards, but you do get to act first.
He unstraps the shield from his back, and doesn't take out a scimitar, but turns around and starts yelling commands.
Shield wall! To the front!
And tries to summon all of the remaining, the able-bodied minotaurs to gather around him.
I grab my shield and I rush to my commander's side.
They do. They follow you as well as they can. They're scrambling. Some of them are still gagging and reeling. And I will say this, that green fog, that putrid smell is still hanging over the ship currently. It's making it harder for everyone to be active in the fight. At the beginning of your turns, I will have you make Constitution saving throws. But Rookh-Ohn, you go first. Make me a Constitution saving throw, and we shall begin our battle.
13.
You're able to keep it choked down and act.
Are there any food stores nearby?
Beneath the ship?
Beneath the ship, so they're not on the top of the ship.
That's right. It's too stormy to keep them up top.
How is the old Minotaur, who's now roped to the mast?
At the moment, he's secure. He's still staring off vacantly back towards the pirate ship itself. His face is bloodied. He's not struggling.
All right, so Rookh-Ohn's going to bring his shield up, unsheath his scimitar, and hold his action.
What's the trigger here?
The beast coming within range.
All right. So at the end of your turn, we move to the beast, the amphi-dragon, and the first thing that happens is its tongue snaps out of its mouth. It's long. It stretches 20 feet straight towards Marala. 18.
Just matches my AC.
3 acid damage as the acid that's dripping off of its tongue burns you, and I need you to make me a strength saving throw.
19.
You feel the tongue super adhesive as it sticks to your fur, but you're able to pull away from it. It rips out a good chunk of your fur and your flesh, but you do not get pulled back, and the tongue snaps back into the dragon's mouth, even as the dragon comes up higher over the side of the ship to make 2 claw attacks against Rookh-Ohn. But Rookh-Ohn, you will get to attack first.
All right. 22.
That is a hit.
6 damage.
And it's going to attack you with its claws twice, Rookh-Ohn. It's going to be an 18 and a 22.
Both hit.
So you will take, as its webbed appendages come up over the edge to swipe at you, they end in curved talons. 20 slashing damage altogether.
That guy's not messing around. And at this happening, so his flesh is rended, blood is pouring everywhere, and he drops for a moment and then gets back up. This is something different that you haven't seen. The blood vessels don't burst in his eyes. He just grits his teeth and spits. He curses a word in an ancient language and goes into a rage.
Excellent. At the end of your turn, half of the crew is still fighting with retching from the cloud, and I have to make a concentration saving throw, or concentration check. It succeeds. So they're still fighting with retching. The other half of the crew will get a chance to act at the end of the turn. Right now, it's Marala's turn.
I see the tongue lashing out at me, and I very much want to try and catch it as it's pulling away from me. Has it moved too far, too fast?
Yes, this time. You could prepare an action so that if it comes at you again or comes near you again, you could try to do something.
I think I would like to do that. I would like to wait until it lashes out near me, grab it, and then hopefully smash it or cut it off so that it doesn't do such a thing again. I'm also worried about it being able to work as like a lasso and pull my companions overboard. I'll get a chunk of you yet.
All right. That takes us to his Groaneth.
His Groaneth will pull a huge single-bladed axe off of his back and begin to spin it. And as soon as he sees his captain, his best friend, his brother go down to one knee and then lurch back up, as Groaneth will rush into as near to the creature as he can get. If it reaches on the ground, if not, he's going to wait almost like a batter waiting for his pitch. And at the same time, when he looks around, he stomps his feet against the boards of the ship. Thunk, thunk, thunk. And he beats his fist against his chest. Hunda, hunda, hunda. And he goes into a rage.
And the beast is now up on the side of the ship. Its two front limbs have taken it up. It doesn't have long reach with its webbed appendages. Despite its huge size, its reach is not great. So right now it is leaning on the ship. It's actually beginning to weigh that side of the ship down and pull it towards the ground. Is there anything else that Hezgroneth is doing on his turn?
Can he attack? Can he attack?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, he's definitely going to do that then with the axe. As he charges in. 23.
That is a hit.
And then, because I have Savage Attack, I think I'll take the 17 instead of the 13.
Excellent. And this time, the beasts, as you strike it in its maw, go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
14.
As you strike it, one of the yellow warts on the side of its lip, on the side of its maw, explodes, and a burst of acid sprays out of it. You were just able to step back and avoid being hit by the acid, but because of your blow and because it failed its concentration check, that green mist that's hanging over the ship right now begins to dissipate, and those sailors that were retching, who couldn't act, are now able to act.
From the front lines, he will turn back towards Rookh-Ohn and laugh. Get in here! And hold his position.
And now following right behind him, as soon as the opening has been created by Hezgroneth, 3 of the younger crew members in Kraga pull javelins off of their backs, step towards the center of the ship, and they all launch the javelins at the maw of this creature. 3 of them will hit for a total of 21 damage. And Rookh-Ohn, we are now back up to the top. The creature falls back after being struck by 3 of the javelins. It falls off the side of the ship, and the ship rocks backwards for a second. You're tilting back in the opposite direction now. Even as you see, you're maybe just a few moments away from reaching the shore. And if you continue at the speed you're going now, it's very likely that you're going to crash. Rookh-Ohn, it's your turn.
Rookh-Ohn notices this, does he? I'm assuming you told me he notices. He wants to man the helm of the ship.
All right.
Keep fighting.
Make me a survival check.
This is D&D Beyond. I do not want that yet. 21.
Rookh-Ohn, you push the young Minotaur out of the way, the one who had been steering the ship, and you take control yourself. And as you do, you're able to avoid just in time, pulling the ship one way, working with a couple of the sailors to get the sails turned in the opposite direction that they were, another smaller reef, and you're speeding towards the shore in such a way that you think that you'll be able to pull up without it being a complete disaster. However, at the end of your turn, the dragon re-emerges from the depths of the Blood Sea, and this time it opens its maw and unleashes an acidic breath, a spray of 60 feet in a straight line, 5 feet wide. It targets Hezgroneth, Kraga, and 3 other of the Minotaurs, the ones who had just stepped up to throw their spears at it. Go ahead and make me, Hezgroneth, a dexterity saving throw.
Four is not good.
You will take 47 acid damage.
No,
As will... No, you won't.
I am raging. So I take half, don't I? Please?
It's acid
that-
damage.
Oh, I'm dead.
Did that drop you to 0?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
only level 4, dude.
Like
I know.
at level 4, I start with 39 hit points.
And so down, it doesn't kill, but it does knock you out currently, as it does Kraga. 2 of the other, or 3 of the other. One of them managed to stay up on the ship. 2 of them go off, tumbling into the side. 2 of the javelin throwers. Kraga goes down as well. Just the spray of acid, and then the creature begins to reapproach. It's swimming towards you. That's the end of its turn. 4 other raiders step up and throw their javelins. Oh, that was the wrong dice. This time they all miss. The creature's just a little far out of its back range of the ship. So we go back to Marala.
I am going to use my second wind, I believe it is called, if possible. And what I would like to do is take a rope, tie it around me, tie it to the ship, and leap out and fuck this thing up, because we're pretty close to the shore anyways. And I know the maelstrom has a center, but are we far enough where I might not get dragged down below? Or is it still like a swirling mess of fuckery?
You're at the edge of what's called a tightening ring right now. This is the edge of the maelstrom where, starting at this point, it begins to pull everything in slowly. This is the point where you can still kind of maneuver, but nobody has ever gone further than this that you're aware of and returned.
Well, today looks like a good day to die. And because if not, looks like it's going to destroy not only the ship, but everybody on it. So yeah, if I could second wind, time myself, and then leap with my longsword and sail through the air and attempt to just get into this thing.
Yeah, go ahead and make me, let's call it an athletics check to see how well you tie and leap.
Also, I'd like to sneak in here and let everyone know that Big Pig 50,000 donated plot armor for all the Minotaurs at the top of the hour. Actually, like 8:15. I didn't see it because I was doing other stuff. But I
not down. Oh, thank goodness.
No, I've got 6 hit points. As you were.
Excellent. Yeah, you very heroically wrap yourself around this, tie yourself to the rope, tie yourself to a mast, and leap. I'm going to give you advantage on this attack with that 16.
That's 23 to skewer this thing as I'm screaming through the air. It's not a scream of rage, it's a scream of joy. It's like, ah! And land into
How much? That's a hit for 7.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Excellent.
All right.
And you leap and you slam into the top of this thing's maw, even as its mouth is closed again. It opens its mouth and its tongue comes up and begins to lap around. But right now you're on this creature and you're out of the water. Now it has not yet gone back underneath the water, so you're not drowning or anything yet.
Can I use my hammering horns after I've hit it with a melee attack? Part of the action on my turn, even though I've used my second wind.
You're hammering horns?
Oh no, wait, no, because that pushes it 10 feet back. It doesn't do damage. Never mind. Okay, sorry. Learning the ways of the warrior. I am a spellcaster. This is hard.
Right now, though, you're being bucked by this creature up and down as the waves are crashing. You're getting salt water spraying into your mouth, spraying into your nostrils, and behind you, cheering, stomping their feet, 4 more of the crew pull out another round of javelins, and they launch them at the beast. Oh my god! Right now we have a guest star donation coming in. Oh man, I'm real excited about that. I will reach out to you, Mativ, and we'll talk about that real soon. But that means that we've hit both of our goals for this episode. That first poll is going to come into play and be very helpful very soon. So we'll go ahead and get that up in chat for you guys to vote on here in a minute. But that's awesome. Meanwhile, javelins go flying. And one of them's a crit. Oh, man. 2 of them hit. One of them's a crit. So it's going to take 21 more damage. And I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw, Marala. You will be hit by one of the errant javelins as well. You're not knocked off of the creature. You're still tied to the rope and fighting it. But
Oh,
you
good, a second weapon! Ah!
I'll let you take the javelin. But you'll also take 7. You when you pull the javelin out of it, your shoulder, you do take 7 piercing damage as well. Actually, but you have plot armor, so it actually you like catch the javelin as it's coming towards you through the air, and you have it in your offhand now. That's the end of your turn. Hezgroneth, you are up. You are acid sprayed, but you are conscious. It's your turn.
Ooh, oh. So as he is wrecked, what does he have around him that he can attack? Is this sucker still within axe distance?
You would have to jump down. You would basically have to do what Marala did and jump down into the water. It's about 15 feet behind the ship. Now, it's not that hard of a jump. It's just how do you get back afterwards?
Oh, I'll carry you. Oh.
Okay, so because, listen, we don't have obviously the licensing rights for this, but if you want to get the lead out and cue up a little immigrant song, now's the time. So as he stands there, electricity begins to rock between the eyes of Hezgroneth as he screams in pain and rage. And if he sees a guideline, something that would tether down any of the, just to fasten down loose bundles on the ship, even if it doesn't reach as far, he's enraged. He does not care. He jumps into the air, and when he is coming down, he activates his storm aura as lightning begins to strike all around him as he comes down in on this thing. I'm going to attack and die.
Make me an athletics check as you leap through the air.
I get advantage on those, right? 12? I don't know if I do it.
Because you're raging. Yeah, that does make a difference. Yeah, you have advantage on your attack, we'll say, as you come down from above, striking at this thing with your axe.
Okay, and it does have a DC 13 dex save to avoid my lightning damage.
All right.
16.
16 will be a miss, but it will not avoid your lightning damage. Do you only do the lightning damage if you hit?
I do it regardless, as long as it's inside 10 feet.
Okay.
I think. I'll double check on that.
Now, if it's an aura.
I think it is. Yeah, with Storm Barbarian, it's an aura, I believe. All right. So you land on the top of it, and your axe just skims off the top of its scales, not quite cracking it, not quite bleeding it, but the electricity does sink into its skin, and now it's bucking the both of you on top of it for, is that 5 lightning damage?
It is, yes.
All right. Now you are there with Marala, both of you on this creature. Anything else on your turn, Hezgroneth?
No, just say a little prayer. So we're done.
All right.
Magic.
So the ship continues to rock as it speeds towards the island. Rookh-Ohn, we're back up to your turn, and what happens is that it looks like both Kraga and the other young Minotaur who was knocked unconscious by the dragon's acidic breath are rocking towards the edge of the ship. They both look like they're about to go sprawling off the side. And you're right now behind, steering the ship, trying to keep it from crashing. And you have a choice to make. Are you going to continue to steer? You think you could probably manage with another survival check, another good moment of decision making and reflexes to bring this ship to the shore without crashing it entirely. Or you can try to save one or both of your crew before they tip off the side.
So how close are they to me?
About 15 feet.
Okay, so with his scimitar, still like he's grabbing the wheel, I want to take the scimitar and through one of these spokes of the wheel, stab the wood behind the scimitar so the wheel doesn't move, or if it has to move, then it has to break through the scimitar and leap for Kraga.
All right, so if you're going to try to do both, I'm going to have to ask you to make me an athletics check and a survival check, both at disadvantage.
Come on, Rookh-Ohn!
Athletics, 21.
Woo!
Survival, 6.
You shove the scimitar in through the wheel and then leap over the edge of the wheel. You sprint towards Kraga. You grab her just like Hezgronoth did a short time ago. You keep her from falling over the edge, and she's starting to stir from being unconscious. You're holding her and pulling her back onto the side of the ship just in time to feel everything around you rock and shatter. You see the wheel itself break apart, your scimitar go flying into the blood sea, and you crash against the rocky shore. I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw, Rookh-Ohn.
Advantage with raging?
Yes.
20.
That's good. That's much better. How does Rookh-Ohn respond to this moment? You feel the ship breaking in front of you. You know this is going to be bad, and you have just a second to react. You have Kraga in your arms.
Am I still on the ship? If I'm going to do...
You're still on the ship at the moment.
What I did with Riordan in the giant battle. It's like, as I get launched from the ship, grab and then form my body as a ball around Kraga to protect her from the rocks upon the landing.
All right. So you go flying, and I'll say with a 20, you're able to protect her, but you will take the damage. Also, your rage ends.
Rage ends before I take the damage or after I take the damage? That's important.
Oh, I will say after you take the damage.
Okay, so then I take 3 of that. If that's
three damage, and the rest of the crew. Well, 3 of the crew. Okay. So, Hawthorne, you're sitting there on the rocky shore, watching the ship approach, and then you see it shatter against a cliff, just straight into it. You see bodies go flying off of it. 4 minotaurs, you recognize them to be minotaurs, go flying towards the shore as the ship crashes and shatters. You see the beast coming up behind them through the wreckage. 2 minotaurs on the head of the beast, still fighting it, but it's pulling itself over this ship, dragging itself closer onto the shore and towards the survivors. Survivors include Rookh-Ohn, Kraga, who is unconscious, and then 3 other of your crew are still alive. One of them, Wolf here, who has started to stir, broken free when the ship shattered. The mast came off. He was freed from the ropes, and now he's awake and starting to stir and reach for his spear. Hawthorne, it's your turn.
I will go meet them down where they're coming ashore.
And they're close to you. We'll say you could get there this turn. What's his plan once he gets there?
For the time being, I will assist whoever is in front of the beast headed towards me, right, as opposed to attacking the monster.
All right. So as you run towards the survivors, Rookh-Ohn, you see this figure in a top hat with a red brim, rushing towards you, moving quickly in a dark robe. It's a pale-faced half-elf, correct?
He was human.
Human. Moving towards you. The singular figure on this misty island. Before he gets there, though, it is the amphidragon's turn, and that tongue is going to whip out towards Marala, who was the first to land on its head and stab it. But I think a 9 is going to miss you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead, it's going to, as it's climbing through the wreckage, take its 2 claw attacks against Rookh-Ohn.
He can reach the shore from where we got launched.
Oh yeah, he's fast. He's much faster than you guys are.
This guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Is he gonna do damage to himself going to the shore if I still have my sword in him and I'm attached to the ship and I just kind of hold it like you'd kind of shear along parchment paper? Because if it tries to get away, I'm not gonna let it go. I'm gonna keep my sword in it and be like, "You're gonna,
I'll let you
you're gonna hurt yourself."
Make me an athletics check.
That was a 13.
Yeah, I'll say you get a reaction attack here as you're slicing through it. I also need you to make me a dexterity saving throw, though.
That is a 4.
So how much damage? Roll your sword damage there. You will take, as you're pulling your blade through it, you pierce one of these yellow warts on its flesh, and the wart explodes. You're sprayed in the face with putrid acid, and you will take just 3 acid damage.
You mad, bro?
Oh, okay. Rookh-Ohn, it hits you twice. That is going to be 20 slashing damage.
That takes me out. If I'm not raging, that takes me out.
Did you attack anything last turn? You didn't, right? So no, you're not raging.
He did take damage though, isn't that? Didn't he take 3 points of something when he crashed?
It's attacking.
Yeah, you took damage when you crashed. So actually, yeah, your rage is still going. Your rage is still going. So yeah, you only take 10 damage. And you did have 8 plot armor too, so you actually only take 2 damage there, Bill.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, cool.
Plot armor is saving the day.
Save the day. All right. That is the end of its turn. It has pulled itself through the wreckage. It's now on the shore. The 3 remaining crew members, including Wolf here, all throw javelins at it. None of them are successful. And they all go errant. They're still getting their footing and trying to pull themselves out of the wreckage as well. That brings us to Marala.
I am going to leave the sword in because I still want to try and do dragging damage and reach out to the javelin that is probably still inside of me, pull it out, and with my other hand, because I'm assuming I'm tied around my waist, stab down with the javelin into it.
All right. Go ahead and take your attack.
It's a 14 hit.
That does. It's a 14 is the total? No, a 14 does not.
Dang.
So the javelin almost breaks off as you strike against its scales, and it is a dragon. It does have thick hide.
And that will be my action as I get ready to kind of hold and hopefully skewer it again.
All right, make me an athletics check. We'll do that now, and we'll resolve at the beginning next turn. Cool. Has Groneth. It's your turn. You're also on the back of the creature, but you're not tied up to anything. So I need you to make me a, let's call it an athletics check here.
Uh-oh. 15.
That is good enough for you to stay and keep from getting bucked off the top of this dragon toad's head. What does his Gronoth do?
His Gronoth is just going to continue to... He can't even... He's incapable of paying attention to what's going on in the periphery, except for Morala, potentially. So he just calls down the lightning again as he brings his great axe down across the back of this thing.
All right, go ahead and take your attack.
21.
That is a hit.
And I'll take the 16. And then a DC 13 dex save for the lightning as it accompanies him.
All right. It passes that one.
Okay, so it takes half of... Hey, take that. Take a spark.
This thing now is, I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw as you shatter another one of its warts as you're slicing through. And this thing is starting to fall. Its head slams for a moment into the rocky shore and then lifts up again. The tongue flickers out. It drags along the rocky sand. You will take 3 acid damage as some of this spurts up into your face when you strike it.
Okay. There went half my hit points.
Rookh-Ohn, it is your turn.
So Kraga's okay, right? She's unconscious, but she's all right.
Yeah, you managed to protect her and kind of keep her from taking any damage as you got thrown from the ship.
All right, so he's going to leave her on the shore, like amongst the rocks, just set her down, and then use my dash action to charge the amphidragon, and then Goring Rush, Hammering Horns.
All right, do it.
All right. No, clickety click. All right. So, is there flanking?
Yeah, I would say so. With Morala and his Gronoth on top of it, I'll call that flanking.
So that's a 19 to hit.
That's a hit.
All right, 7 damage.
All right, and then it's saving throw versus your hammering horns. It saves.
It sure does. Right. Yeah, that's yeah,
sneak attack.
Yeah, sneak
attack?
Yeah, I do have sneak attack. There's sneak attack damage. This is 1d6. I didn't implement that in the roll 20 since it's a different character. Sorry.
That's all right.
5 additional damage.
All right, and again, when you charge this thing, you strike it right in its face, making me a dexterity saving throw. Another one of these acidic wards bursts against your horns, and its head slams back into the rocky shore, and it lifts again. Its webbed feet are moving slower as it's coming towards you. What's that dexterity save? You're going to take 3 acid damage.
Mighty 6.
3 acid damage total. And Hawthorne, it's this point that you reach the survivors. They've all turned back to fight this thing, and their backs are towards you. So one of the young ones turns and looks over its shoulder at you, but they're all focusing their attention on this beast.
I will let them fight it. I don't feel like taking a swim today. I will pick up and start dragging the unconscious Minotaur, Kraga, I believe, further up the shoreline, away from the water.
Excellent. Yeah, you're able to pull Kraga. She's starting to stir again, but she's really out of it. You can see as you pull her along the shoreline, her skull is pulsing. Bum 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 bum.
Well,
Dum dum.
I let go and I turn around so that my back's to her. If I'm going to make nice, it wouldn't do to eat my first guest.
You turn away from her. It's that sound, the pulsing of her psychic energies. It lingers for a few moments, and then you kind of will it out of your mind. That's Hawthorne's turn. It is now the dragon's turn. And the dragon this time is going to take more of that longsword damage. You pull it through. So go ahead and roll your blade damage there, Marala. And let's see if it makes it save.
That's 10, yes!
Excellent. Make me another dexterity saving throw.
Ugh. I need battle scars anyways.
You will take 3 acid damage as, again, more of this sprays up into your face. Meanwhile, it continues to rampage. It's going to miss Rookh-Ohn with its first claw attack. It will hit one of the 3 remaining crew members with its second, and then it pulls open its maw and it chomps the second of those crew members. You watch as it rends this minotaur in half. Well, let me check the damage. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah. Rends this one of the crew members in half. You see it tear its torso from its legs still planted in the sand. The other one is wounded, crashed across the face with claws, but still standing. You are now down to Kraga, 2 of your crew members, one of them Wolfpeer, Marala, and Hasgroneth. Marala, it's your turn.
I am going to pick my sword up as quickly as I can and smash it back down again, screaming more in pain this time as the acid is etching into my face, tearing away at my fur, and probably showing bits of my bone structure at this point, little flecks of white showing through. 13, I'm assuming, does not hit.
It does not.
Cry out in frustration as I see my friends dying around me.
Make me one more athletics check.
Yes, finally. Yeah.
You are able to force the blade down and keep it there. You feel yourself being pulled off of this creature as it's pulling itself forward along the shoreline, and your rope only goes so long, but you're able to keep your body stretched out. You're now off of its back. The only thing that's attaching to it is the blade that's holding you there in the air, and you're taut. The rope is pulling you against the wreckage of the ship, and you're in the air suspended, holding onto the blade, but you do hold on to it. Hasgroneth, it's your turn.
Okay, so Hasgroneth is going to attack again as he's right beside Marala, but to flavor this up a bit, what he's going to try to do is he's going to take his axe, spin it, and drive the head down into the same hole that Marala's using, and call his lightning down to go through that heft of his metal axe into the rent hole to see if he can cute this frog from the inside. Of course, all that depends on like 18 rolls, so that's what he was planning to do, everybody.
I believe.
Go ahead and make me a, oh man, what do I want to even call this? Make me a survival check.
That doesn't sound good at all, but... Natural 20?
That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Yeah.
Give me an attack at advantage here.
23.
All right. I'm going to allow you to do an additional 1d8 damage here, plus your lightning, assuming it fails its saving throw, so it'll take the full lightning damage too.
Come on, buddy.
8. And 1.
So how much total damage is that?
Grand total of 18 as he sinks it in and then calls the lightning down into his axe.
You sink your axe into the open wound here. You call the lightning down, and it's not normal lightning. This is the green fire from the maelstrom. It arcs from afar, answering your call. It hits the sky above you and then comes down through your axe into the head of this dragon. All at once, all of the warts on the back of this creature's head explode. I need both you and Morala to make me dexterity saving throws. Morala, you have a choice. You can let go of your weapon and
Never.
avoid this. Then you'll take 9 acid damage. However, Hasgroneth, you are able to, as you're pulling this axe out, you're able to shield yourself with the axe against the acid spray, and you feel the beast's head go down. It slams into the rocky shore once again, but this time it does not rise. A slow egg odor rises from the wound, that sulfur smell, and the creature is still, the dragon is slain.
Hasgroneth will immediately jump down to the beach and attempt to hack off the very tip of its tongue.
Does anybody else, which you absolutely can, does anybody else want to take a trophy?
Rookh-Ohn's going to, since he lost his sword in the Blood Sea, go into the eye socket of this beast and slip his hands beneath the skull and rip out the amphidragon's eyeball.
And I'm not going to stop you. You want some tongue, you want some eyeball. It is all yours. You earned it. This was a nasty, nasty creature, and you're standing there now taking what spoils you will, but at what cost? Your long ship is wrecked. You can repair it, maybe with time, but most of your crew is gone, lost to the sea, or outright dead. Just a few of you remain. And it's quiet now. Just the crashing of waves, the sound of the distant lightning, the thunder.
I'm going to take this opportunity to belly flop into the water and rinse off as much of the acid as possible, coming out and shaking off my fur and then stomping towards the shore, looking at this top-hatted creature that is so near one of our own. What are you?
I think you could call me a friend. It seems like you could use a few more. You lost a few in the water.
They died in battle.
They did. That does not change the fact that you are short some friends.
Rookh-Ohn! Where are you?
Rookh-Ohn hears this and approaches.
Leader.
What have you done to Kraga?
I have done nothing to your friend. I simply pulled her further away from the rocky shore where the battling was going.
What is the purpose
You're
of
welcome.
What is the purpose of that thing on your head? Are you a priest?
It's called a hat, sir, and gentlemen wear many hats. This is one of my finest.
Cut
Thank
the
you. Oh, go ahead.
cut the elf shit. What does it do?
It protects my head.
Let us see about that.
Would you like to inspect it?
Oh, she would have just like, almost as you would to a dog, like, no, sorry, read that. You know how you like crack an egg on the top of someone's head? She'd lightly donk your hat. Is made of soft material.
You should have put that rabbit in there.
God damn it, Craig.
That would have been really cool.
Do I think he's being earnest if I stare at him kind of deadpan, my large misshapen horns, probably about as tall as his top hat?
I'll let you make an insight check. I will say, too, as we're doing this now, we're moving forward. The winner of the first poll, Rookh-Ohn, you have protection this episode against things that go bump in the night, and we'll see what that means. Mechanically, what it means is that if I ask you to make an intelligence saving throw, you have advantage.
Fuck this shit.
Wow. Well, I would need advantage for an intelligence saving throw, so thanks.
I voted for you, Billy.
Thanks, Mal.
All right, Mal. So Hawthorne, with a 16, which is pretty good. What will you give Morala as she's trying to determine how earnest he is?
Well, the specific words he said are not a lie, but there are obviously layers upon layers of intent. But the words were true.
I believe him.
What are you doing on this island?
Surviving? Maybe. It's hard to say. What are you doing on this island?
We just crashed, I say, pointing to the ship behind us.
I saw. It was very spectacular. But why are you here?
I look to Rookh-Ohn, not wanting to say.
Rookh-Ohn approaches, and with a very intimidating glare, he'll take the back of his head and point it straight into the air and almost look down on this soft-hatted creature.
We are here for conquest and plunder. Here lies our destiny. We lost several out there for the ability to come to this island. And you will either help us, or you could try to hurt us.
Well, I don't think it would be very hard to hurt you if I really wanted to, considering the state things are at the moment. But if you're here for plunder, I might know a few things.
I see that you are well versed. If you wish to aid us, please do so, and we will be on our way as fast as we are able. We've got a ship to tend to get off of this island, but that will not stop us.
If I help you plunder this island, would you consider taking me with you?
To our home?
Off of the island. Anywhere really is better than here.
I think we can arrange something. First, share with us what you know.
I know that deep in caves there are supposedly untold items, artifacts from previous ages. Artifacts that could aid or fetch a high price, depending on your use for them.
Interesting. Where's the cave?
Well, it's very deep in the island to get to these caves. And the dangers, well, they are many.
What have you seen?
Don, besides other of my kind that I know are here, what have I seen that might be dangerous?
What do you mean your kind? Are you not a human?
Oh, he's asking me. So there are several. Most of the threats are off the island. Now, amphidragons are able to be both on land and in the sea, but they don't really come to the island very often because there's just not enough food here. They've attempted to eat your people before, and it's not gone well for them for one reason or another. There are other predators, though. The most dangerous of which are small but very poisonous insects and some larger breeds of spider as well.
That doesn't sound too challenging. I'll wager you this. If you can guide us to the artifacts and guide us back all alive and help us repair our ship, I can take you to where you'd like to go. Perhaps the mainland. You would not fare well in the Blood Isles.
Well, I don't know how much help I'd be with your ship, but I think I can handle the 5 of you.
But everyone must live. The deal is off if one of my crew dies. Do you understand?
So you feel strongly about these crew. What about the ones that are in the water?
They chose their path. We are here now able to protect the ones that we have. Destiny took the others from us.
Would it not be destiny then if any of you met your end here?
Not if you can do anything about it. Again, it is my ship. If you wish passage on my ship, you will meet my demands.
You are a very gracious Minotaur. I accept your demands. The 5 of you will be led into the island. We will retrieve artifacts and we will exit the island.
Enough words.
How many of our crew are left?
So there are Wolf here, young Minotaur as well has survived, and then Kraga has Gronoth, Morala, and you. And right as you're having this conversation is sort of coming to its end, Kraga wakes up. She stirs and pushes up on an elbow. She kind of reaches into the air. She's standing still behind Hawthorne, and she kind of reaches weakly and then lowers herself to the ground and wipes her mouth.
At this point, Gronoth would come up and just break through the scene and get over to her and not pull her up in an act of aid or strength to weakness, because he's beat to shit too, but in a moment of like shared support as he comes forward just to see how she is. He pays Hawthorne no mind.
Yeah, she kind of grips your arms, and you feel she's still strong. She pulls herself up with your help, and you can hear her speak quietly. Rookh-Ohn, make me a perception check.
Be really cool if, as a barbarian, was raging, have a subclass that gets advantage on perception checks.
And I would say your rage is over now too.
You don't need the advantage, boy.
So even though it's a whisper, Rookh-Ohn, you can hear exactly what she says to Hezgroneth. You saved me twice. When I needed you, you were there. Thank you.
Always and forever.
Forever.
Rookh-Ohn's nostrils flare up and his eyes widen, and he turns around like it affects him. But he doesn't say anything. He only lets that emotion surge, and then compose himself, and looks back at the soft-hatted creature. Crew, what is left of you? To me. And Wolfear's free, right?
Yeah, Wolfear steps forward. His nose is broken. He's got blood covering the fur on his face. But he looks sharp again, and he says, Captain, should we all come with you, or should we stay behind to watch the ship? I will do as you ask. I apologize for my prior weakness.
Rookh-Ohn walks over to him, places a strong hand on the nape of his neck.
I knew you weren't yourself. Tried to knock you out of it. The point is, you're still with us. That's what I sought. Thank you for your service.
Yes, Captain. What would you have me do? Us do?
The ship is broken. We have to repair it anyways. Come with us. After we return with our prize, we'll worry about repairing the ship.
Might I interject?
Might you?
May you, she says.
May I offer an alternative opinion?
Continue.
Like many things in this maelstrom, there could be things we are not equipped to face. Perhaps it would be best if some of your people could have the ship ready to go when we return.
There's only 6 of us and you. 1 or 2 that we leave behind could not repair the ship fast enough for us to make a quick exit. It's going to take time. So no, everyone is coming with us.
I will follow you, Captain. Into the abyss, I will follow you. He looks behind him to the young Minotaur, who you would know is actually Wolfhear's grandson, Baomir. Boy, come. Gather your arms. Carry food, supplies, just in case we need it. We will return with the captain, or we will not return at all. And his grandson, after just sort of staring at him, kind of looking angry for a long moment, takes in a deep breath, snorts, and then goes to gather what little bit of supplies can be found along the shoreline to pack up a little bit for the trip.
Everyone make camp. I figure if we're going to embark on a potentially dangerous journey, we could use roughly 8 hours of rest.
That is very specific, but I will take it.
I said roughly. It could be 7 hours and 45 minutes or 8 hours and 15 minutes, anywhere in that range.
It better not be 7:45. We have Don as our DM. He'll fuck us with that last 15 minutes.
8 it is.
I'll take
This is where this is where I wish that there was a luck mechanic in D&D, so that I could see if you guys can actually make it through 8 hours. Rookh-Ohn, roll me 1d.
Sorry.
God damn it. You had to taunt the DM. Fuck you all. You deserve this. That'd be fail.
I die in all these. I'm not concerned.
Did you say you said 1d20, right?
I did. All right, I'll hold on to that. So it's an uncomfortable camp. It's still raining, thundering. Now, your Minotaurs, you're used to a hard life at sea, but this is a very inhospitable shore. Are you trying to start a fire? How comfortable are you trying to get?
As comfortable as possible. So, like, we'll curl up against a tree, take some of the blankets, which I'm sure are moist, and try to cover ourselves with them. Make a fire, eat warm food, drink nasty cold ale.
The ale! I run back to the ship, trying to salvage any of the ale.
Roll me 1d20.
Oh.
There's one unbroken barrel that you're able to find.
This is mine.
So you are able to make camp. It's uncomfortable, but you're able to make camp for the night. And besides taking watch, is there anything anyone in particular is trying to do before you set out for the caves tomorrow?
I'm sorry, go ahead, bud.
No, after you. There's a secondary thought.
I was just going to say that has groaneth because Kraga and he have been just absolutely messed up. He's going to dig like a half dugout in the sand of the beach. So he's going to go down about 2 or 3 feet, dig deep and put a tarp over the top of it and try to basically make like a de facto, almost like a sweat lodge type of thing, someplace that would stay warm and heal a bit, in the culture. Give it a shot.
Absolutely, yeah. You're able to do so. Roll me 1d20.
Right down the middle. 10.
Rookh-Ohn and has grown to make me Constitution saving throws.
I get advantage because I'm charming. 22.
It's not a thing.
I got an 8.
Cool. All right. Is there anything else that anybody wants to do besides drink and set up camp for the night? Any plans that you have?
As I'm setting up, I'm kind of gazing and gauging as to what Kraga is doing and how she's communicating and body language and things like that.
Kraga is helping has grown to set up his shelter. She's tired and exhausted, and she's pushing herself physically. You can tell that she's probably pushing herself a little too hard, but she's not complaining. Approach her?
No. Nope.
Once, as you're staring at her, she looks back over her shoulder to you. She's holding up a structure, trying to keep it straight against the blustering wind, and she flashes you just a small sliver of a smile.
Rookh-Ohn absorbs that smile, and you can see his eyebrows kind of change, and he gets mad at himself and looks back at the ground, and then has an idea in his dumb Minotaur brain, and as he's making camp, he looks over.
Morala, come to me.
I cap the ale, bring it with me, put it in front of our leader. Ale?
Absolutely. I do not have a vessel on me. Do you have a...
With my bulging arms, place the cask before you. I can hold it for you. And I'll assist him as he drinks straight out of the keg. I don't think Minotaur are really known for giving a fuck about germs, so...
Then he takes a solid couple of swigs and then closes it off, stops.
You fought well today. Your family, those close to you, would be honored. In the future, I am happy to have you on my crew. Any crew, for any mission. If you desire, seek me out.
I will always fight beside you. Brother.
If you'd like, you can make camp. To me, we can share stories.
I hold my arm out to clasp you, enjoy, and sit myself right beside you afterwards, and chuckle heartily.
And knowing that the three brain cells this Minotaur has in his brain as a ploy to make Kraga jealous, he looks over to see Kraga's reaction.
Roll me a persuasion check.
I believe that I, Bill of the Forest, have advantage on persuasion because I'm charming. 13.
You see her again at some point. Now she's speaking and sitting down and kind of talking to his Gronoth. She looks over her shoulder and her eyes flicker between you and Morala. She does not smile this time. Her gaze doesn't linger long before she turns back to his Gronoth.
This is a good day.
It's a great day. We lost several of our clan. But
They died in glory. The tales we shall sing of them back home.
I will be the one to tell their families, but I will invite them out for drinks and fighting.
Her eyes kind of look at you for a moment as there's usually another addendum added to the end of that, but she leaves it open for interpretation.
Rookh-Ohn doesn't pick up on that at all.
Very low intelligence score. What's Hawthorne doing right now as the Minotaurs have made camp? Does he stay out of the shore or does he return to the caves tonight?
He would go back up to the rocky position he was originally looking out from.
The storm continues, and here at the edge of the tightening ring, there's no sun, there's no day, no night. There's just the edge of the great storm and the green fire in the distance that you dare not look at for too long unless you go mad. Does he look?
Tonight, yes, he looks for a time.
Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Seven.
Hawthorne, as you stare into the fire, it's weird. It's flash of the lightning in the distance. It's almost like you're flashing to a different place in time, a memory, but it's not a memory because you haven't been there. You haven't seen it. Some small, run-down, shabby room, tiny building. A girl you knew once. half-elf girl, Othrin. And there's Sir Leon Barnabas, too, much like you know him now. You watch as he opens his mouth and his fangs show. And you watch as she turns her neck and opens herself up to them, up to him. And he moves to embrace her.
I yell very loudly. No words, just frustration, anger.
And the sound, an inhuman sound that escapes your mouth. And as it does, another crash of distant lightning. And with that crash, you're out of the memory that's not a memory, and you're back there, the rainy, rocky shore of the beach, alone with your thoughts.
I'll kill him someday. Soon, I hope.
You make the promise to yourself. We move back to camp. The night goes, unless anybody else has anything else they'd like to do.
No, I said I would take first watch, so I'll make sure everybody gets a rest before I pass the fuck out in the sand, one arm around my keg of ale like it's a body pillow, snuggling up against it.
There's no attack in the middle of the night, no more beasts. 8 hours pass, but it looks the same outside as it did when you went to sleep. There is no day or night here, just the fog and just the storm. You are soaked, even with your best efforts, soaked to the bone. As you wake up, you will all gain the benefits of a long rest. However, as Gronoth, with your 2 failed rolls, you will lose your second wind until you take another rest. Or you don't have second wind. You're a barbarian, right? You'll lose one of your rages until you take your second rest. It's morning now, or what passes as morning on this island, and everyone's stirring and packing up camp. Are we ready to go to the caves?
Yes.
Everyone rise. It is time. Soft-hatted one, point us in the direction of the cave. You can be at the front or you can be at the back. It pays me no mind.
Well, I know the way best, so I'll lead you on, I suppose.
Be at the front with me then.
As we continue.
I turn to Rookh-Ohn and I go, I forgot a little detail last night. I don't know if you know, but don't look at the maelstrom too long. It drives people mad. And I just turn and start going.
The maelstrom is in the past. I choose to look forward. And I follow the soft-hatted one.
I do have a question as we set off in the morning for the caves for Gronoth. Did Gronoth spend the night alone last night?
It depends. Is there a charisma check involved, or he would like to not have?
No, just a choice.
No, the choice would be this, not tongue in cheek, because of the culture and because of the vastly the outweighing of males to females. This would be something that Kraga would have to initiate. He would not do it. So if she elected to stay, then yes.
It's been a long time with the two of you becoming closer, and it wants maybe the friendship between the three, Rookh-Ohn, Hezgroneth, and Kraga, was equal on even footing. But things have started to shift ever since Rookh-Ohn became captain. You, Hezgroneth, and Kraga have become closer and closer, and it's not much, and it's not spoken aloud, but there's just something slightly more distant in the relationship, especially between Kraga and Rookh-Ohn, than there used to be. And after she believes that you saved her life twice, even though once was Rookh-Ohn and once was Hezgroneth, this night is the night where she makes the move, and she offers to stay with Hezgroneth if he'll have her.
Absolutely. It's the love of his life.
This would not go unnoticed by anyone who had survived, and despite the heaviness of having lost most of the crew the night before, Wolf here kind of barks out a laugh and slaps Hezgroneth on the back and a shoulder as they're getting ready to leave in the morning. And Kraga, despite being exhausted still from the day before, she's beaming. She's radiant. It's like her fur is almost standing on end.
He would just follow Rookh-Ohn's orders to the T and steal a glance whenever he could.
Rookh-Ohn, you set off?
Yes. However, he processes things longer than he normally would. Every air seems to be tainted with something that he can't quite place. And his eyebrows are furrowed, and he's not as forward as he once was in his actions, in his movements.
Soft-hatted one. Where are we headed? How much of a journey do we have?
It's a small island, and it's just a couple of hours to get to the caves on the other side of the island. Not a long journey, but a bleak one. Rainy, rocky, cold.
It's not long. Soon we'll be out of the rain.
Rookh-Ohn looks back at Marala.
You, Kraga, Marala, to the front with me.
Too much ale, I say, not catching in at all at the slip of the tongue. And I grab my shield and pull out my longsword and move to the front.
We'll need the shields for the front.
Fine.
So led by a pale-faced human in a top hat, a small band of just half a dozen minotaurs crashed on a mysterious island in the Blood Sea. You travel 2 hours across land together towards these caves that Hawthorne had spoken of, where there lays a treasure hidden deep beneath the earth from the Age of Might, an age past, before the cataclysm. This is why you came here. This is why your friends died, for this opportunity at glory. Now you cross to the caves and you stand outside a whistling doorway into the earth. The pathway leads down beneath the sea level. It's dark. You stand just outside now, together.
Soft hat. Do you have a torch or anything that could light the way?
Unfortunately, all my torches long since rotted away. The weather is not kind to them.
I would say with Morala's good luck roll the night before, she was able to find not just the last full barrel of ale, but also some simple supplies. As you were gathering up food, you were able to find some torches, somehow a lantern that was in a box that did not shatter, is still usable, enough light that you could go beneath the earth.
Excellent. So let's use that.
Do minotaurs not have any form of dark vision?
Nope.
And I'm assuming we would have lost any backpacks that we had or adventuring gear, etc.
You're able to find real basic gear, but yeah, you're in pretty dire straits. Enough to adventure, but not enough to survive long term on this island, for sure.
Let's take what we have. Light on fire what we can. Hopefully the cave isn't that deep.
I believe I have a torch inside of my adventuring pack if it's not completely fucked.
I'll let you have the torch.
All right.
I'll let you guys have enough light to travel into the caves.
All right. I will hold the torch since I'm at the front of the lines.
Rookh-Ohn as well.
You descend into the cave, all of you staying close together. Hawthorne leading the way still.
Yes.
The mouth of the cave is large, but it does narrow a little bit once you get inside. It's still a rather spacious tunnel that you're entering, maybe 20 feet wide here near the opening and almost as tall. The walls made of old, hard obsidian. The ground is littered with ash, guano. The ceiling drips with the wet, constant barrage of storm on the outside. Sometimes the high tide rinsing through the tunnel, leaving a layer of fetid water on the bottom of the ground. You can hear the whistling of the wind through the tunnel. It's just loud enough to drown out the constant storms and the crashing waves of the blood sea outside. It's a long tunnel, not a maze, not yet. Hawthorne, you would know that there are two ways to get where you're going. There's the main path, which gets more narrow the deeper in you go, but is wide and accessible. And you know that there is a sort of a back path as well. It's more narrow. Only one body can kind of fit in at a time as you get through the tightest parts of it. That path is less traveled.
I would probably stop then so that the group can discuss.
You've descended into the cave a good deal. You no longer can see the mouth. You no longer see the flash of green lightning from the maelstrom outside. You're just inside this underground belly now, and you've come to what amounts to be a strange fork in the path. You have the tunnel ahead of you, much as the tunnel behind you as it twists deeper and deeper into the earth. Then you have sort of a side tunnel. This is 5 feet wide, even at its mouth, enough for one of you to go through at a time, not for any of you to be side by side.
Which way do we go?
Both paths will take us where we want to go. The wider path is the most used. The smaller path is more of a back door.
Used by what? You?
And the others, yes. Most of them don't come out.
What's down there?
Evil. Insanity. Zealotry. There's a lot of zealotry.
What kind of tree is a zealotry?
I believe it's on the mainland. So, which way is the plunder?
Both ways, like I said.
What you would know, Hawthorne, is that one path, the main path, will take you through the, let's call it the living area of your people. To get to the living quarters of the person you want to get to, where there would be treasure and your personal goals, you would have to pass through that, unless you took the back path, which kind of cuts behind it, and it'd be a little bit easier for you to get there taking the tighter route, if you wish to avoid seeing any of your people.
If you truly wish to make your way quickly, I suggest we take the back door.
You're not leading us into a trap, are you? I assure you that I will flay you before
If I was going to lead you into a trap,
trapped.
I would have led you straight down the main way with nary a thought of discussing with you the various things that we could be doing or the things that could happen.
Rookh-Ohn approaches Soft Hat.
Your passage off this island is based off of our success.
That's why I'm suggesting the less traveled route. It will get us there with less notice.
Then this is the route we shall go. Brace yourselves. I shall lead the way. Soft Hat behind me.
I will go behind the Soft Hat. Wolf here bellows out and takes up his place behind Hawthorne. Who goes behind Wolf here?
And then Rookh-Ohn glances at Tia's character for a moment and places his hand on his shoulder and lets it there for a little bit longer than a moment.
Take the rear. Your shield will be needed.
She kind of looks at Soft Hat for a moment in the same way that a child might look at another child that is standing too close to their parent, their leader, a little disgruntled that not one of their own gets to stand so close to the person, but pride is returned when I am told to stand at the back because I am needed. And I head back there.
Kraga takes a moment to approach Rookh-Ohn before they all head into the tunnel. And she looks around and gives a long look and a bit of a smile to his Groneth, and then says to Rookh-Ohn, "Captain, my friend, please be careful. We do not need to all throw our lives away. There is still much life out there, beyond the sea."
Rookh-Ohn absorbs the information and does not respond. Furrows his brow. Looks at her furtively.
It is not too late.
You will stand behind his Groneth.
Her face drops, her head drops, her chin touches her chest for a second, and then she squares her shoulder and stands up taller. And she stomps one of her feet, and she says, "Yes, Captain, I will." She turns, and when she pushes past his Groneth, she stops in front of him, and he can feel her hand trying to press up against his hand.
He would take it, palm to palm and lace the fingers quickly, trying to shield it as much as he could from everyone else, not like he's doing it for, to keep it from Rookh-Ohn, but...
It is okay. We'll be fine.
Yes.
Rookh-Ohn turns away towards the front, towards the darkness, and will make an audible grunt and pound the soft part of his fist against the wall of the cave. And then start heading in the direction, in the order agreed upon.
All right. And once they start moving, Kraga quickly breaks her hand away from Hesgronus and takes up her spot as ordered in the line. And you move all one at a time into this smaller tunnel. It's only 5 feet wide and 10 feet tall. There's not as much air here. It's a little smothering, and you can, even as you're starting to step into this tunnel, you can feel insects crawling across your arms, into your simple clothing. The tunnel stretches on for quite a long time. Rookh-Ohn, roll me a wisdom saving throw.
I have advantage on this because I'm charming. 13.
You keep saying that.
Just like Greg keeps saying strong 14. Sick. I like it.
One of these days. You're beginning to wonder if this could be a trap. If it were a trap, it would be very difficult for you or any of your people to escape how deep you are inside this choking tunnel.
So as that occurs to him, he stops and he turns around to Soft Hat.
What are you doing?
I'm doing what we agreed upon. Taking you to the treasure.
This is far too long a trail. If anything were to happen, we'd be trapped here.
I have been trapped here for years. This is nothing, you big oaf. Move on.
Choose your next words wisely. You are outnumbered. You depend on me.
I think you misunderstand how even the power is in this situation, but I apologize. As I said, I've been stuck here a very long time, and I'm very looking forward to your ship being fixed and us leaving. Why would I throw that away?
Rookh-Ohn processes that information slowly, turns around and begins to go further down the trail.
It's not much further down the trail where the trail continues onward, and Hawthorne would know that you want to ultimately continue onward. But Rookh-Ohn, you see something off to the side, a little side chamber. And with your light, your lantern light that you've taken with you, you can see that the side chamber has a higher ceiling, disappears into shadows. And there is treasure here, gold flowing out of chests, furs of bright and vivid color, linens bearing the sigil of, you would know from your travels across the seas in the area, what was once the ancient empire of Istar.
Rookh-Ohn turns back to Soft Hat.
Is this the treasure of which you speak? Is this the plunder?
This is the cast-off, the real stuff, the stuff that you're here for is deeper in.
So this is nothing.
Yes.
Rookh-Ohn turns back towards the rest of the crew.
This is here to stop us. The true goal is further down the tunnel. Do not be tempted. Follow in line.
And Rookh-Ohn continues down the tunnel.
You all continue down the tunnel. Does anyone enter into the side chamber?
No,
So
has
tempting.
Grona's captain said to keep going forward, and go forward he shall.
Morala, does Morala tempt it, or is that just Tia that's tempted?
Oh, that's just Tia. No, you see, you put a big shiny fucking button there, and you go, "Don't touch it." And I'm like, "But I want to touch it." So no, she follows her leader without question. But the player character goes, "I want to know what's in there."
Morala at the back of the line, you, as you're passing the side chamber, roll me a perception check.
A strong 12.
You happen to glance over your shoulder and see what looked like a rug with that sigil of Istar on it shift and change. What looked like a rug breaks away, and you realize as you stare at it, it wasn't a rug. It looks like some sort of webbing that almost was painted or purposefully woven in such a way, and rising from that pile of web is a dark and hideous shape, a giant spider that had been hiding underneath, flat to the ground at first, but the creature's many joints crack as it snaps itself up to its full height, easily 15 feet tall, and it begins to skitter towards you as you're trying to get through past the opening and squeeze into the next part of the hall.
I rise up to meet the challenge.
All right, go ahead and make me an athletics check first off, and then make me an attack roll.
18 on the athletics and 16 on the attack roll.
Go ahead and roll damage. That's a hit.
For a total of 7.
A spider skitters towards you, and you'll see as it's approaching, it has an unusually plump, full abdomen with chitin covered in short black bristles and 2 wide gray stripes that run down the length of its back. Even in the dim light of the cave, only provided by your torch, you can see it has many eyes, and they gleam. They almost glow with a bright and hungry red light. Unlike most spiders, this giant monster lacks mandibles. Instead, it has almost a human-like maw of terrifying fangs, each the length of a short sword, dripping with some sort of translucent liquid. And right as it's about to snap that maw at you, you strike it in the face with your sword, and it snaps back. It skitters back 2 feet. It seems to stare at you with all of its eyes. You have a moment now. Are you going to rush in, or are you going to squeeze past?
I am not an extremely intelligent being, and I have been challenged. I do not believe at this point it would be pertinent to walk away from the fight. Also, it could my companions in danger. Also, I want to know what else is in the fucking cave. Sorry, friends.
All right, roll me initiative. Just you, because nobody else can get it, and nobody else can get out yet. This time the spider is going to skitter towards you after being knocked back for a second, and is going to snap at you with its mandible, with its fangs. Twice. A 20 and a 14.
The 20 hits, the 14 does not.
You will take 14 piercing damage and 9 poison damage as it sinks its fangs into your left thigh. Make me a Constitution saving throw.
19.
You shake off the effects of the poison as you feel woozy for a second, but it grips into your leg with its head larger than your torso, and it's pulling at your leg, shredding your fur and your flesh, and it's trying to pull you out of the opening and into the cave. It fails to do so. It is your turn. How is she looking?
I'm fine. Absolutely fine. No problems whatsoever here. Not 13 hit points. I am going to bring my sword in another overhanded chop and attempt to slash down on it, and burning through an action surge after that, attempt to gore it again.
All right, take 2 attacks.
That's a total of 21 damage, as I cannot rage because I am not a barbarian, but I am surely not very happy at this moment as I hack into it over and over again.
And you do hack again and again. The second one takes out one of its eyes, and it pulls back away from you, releases your leg. Your leg is mangled pretty bad, and it skitters back a couple of steps, presses itself flat against the ground. It's amazing how it can crunch its joints and get so small even though it's so big, and then it pops up again. It looks like it's about to skitter towards you, but since you freed yourself, I'll let you have a movement action.
I will back up to the back of the cave so it can only come at me from one direction. Or the back of the wall to the, like if this was the entrance into the side, back up, not backing up into the cave, because that would be stupid.
Now,
You press
a solid 18 seconds has passed. Does anyone hear anything else?
Yes, absolutely. At this point, it's been 12 seconds, and
12 seconds.
you would have heard her yell. That yell would have gotten everyone else's attention. Now, here's the situation. She's choking the entrance to the side chamber. No one else can squeeze through. You guys are all kind of trapped in this tiny, tiny space in a line. Rookh-Ohn, you're at the front of the line, and she's at the back of the line. Next after her is Kraga and Hezgroneth.
So I yell,
Fall back! Down the trail! Remove yourself from the cave! This is an order!
Does she follow the order?
My leader wants me to fall from battle, but I must obey.
Shield up! Shield up! Back down the trail!
Okay, so is she squeezing through the hole and retreating?
Yes.
Roll me an athletics check.
Natural 20.
It comes at you again as you're squeezing through, and you get your shield up just in time. It slams its face into your shield. You feel it, the force of its giant body knocking you back against the wall, and then it snaps at you with its fangs, but it can't quite reach you. It can't squeeze through the opening. It's too small for the spider, but big enough for you to fall back and continue down the path with everyone else.
Look at Rookh-Ohn with a bit of contempt in my eyes, but continue to drag my leg and walk along after them, offering no explanation.
After a few moments, the spider's head disappears around the corner, vanishes into the side chamber, and you see it no more.
We went over this. Insubordination is weakness.
Then challenge me, she says, still dripping in blood. I did not go into the cave. It came at me.
You can't control it. You can control yourself. Follow my orders.
Roll me a persuasion check, Rookh-Ohn. And this isn't for anything for Marala.
19.
Wolf here and Baomir both kind of keep their heads low. They don't seem to react. Kraga casts down the tunnel. It might not even be perceptible with this many people clogging the path. A cold stare forward at the front of the line.
You may not understand, but you will obey.
She kind of scuffs her feet on the ground and wipes her longsword while looking straight in her leader's eyes, but sheathes it very slowly.
And we move further down the tunnel.
So you do. Anybody else do anything?
Just before they start to move, as Groneth is the closest to Marala, he will look at her.
Just because you have the last of the ale, you still have to listen to the captain.
Turns and walks off.
Maybe we need a new captain.
Good luck.
You continue down the tunnel, and eventually it empties out through a hole in a wall. This hole reveals what looks like an ancient temple. This temple is covered in ankle-deep water. Anyone who wants could roll me a religion check. Hawthorne, I'll let you do it at advantage.
I choose to negate on this as religion.
I rolled twice. It's the first one. It's a 4.
17.
All right.
7.
7. So Hawthorne would know, probably because he is so old and remembers a time where there was still gods in the realm, that this is a temple, or was a temple, to Paladine. And an altar to Paladine still remains in the center of the chamber. It's decayed, it's broken down a little bit, but not defaced. It's better cared for than much of what's in this room. The murals to other gods, the once ivory walls, are now covered in excrement, mold, old bloodstains from dark deeds past. In the corners of the room and along the walls are piles of gold and jewels, plundered from ships probably that have wrecked before on the island. Most strangely, though, beside the shrine to Paladine, in the center of the temple, lies a black iron maiden that has been tipped over.
Rookh-Ohn looks at Soft Hat. Do these things look familiar? Have you seen these before?
Yes. This was a temple to Paladine.
I've heard of him. What is that?
And he gestures with his head over at the Iron Maiden.
Do I know that it's anything other than an Iron Maiden?
No, I mean, you've been in here before, rarely. You're not really supposed to be here unless you're summoned to be here. You've seen the Iron Maiden. Hawthorne, you would remember the 3 Iron Maidens from a long time ago. One white with the face of Solinari, one red with the face of Lunatari, and one black with the face of Nutari. This black Iron Maiden, the face is worn off over time, but it once was the face of Nutari.
Where's the finest plunder? What is it that we are looking for?
You're looking for a hammer. A very special hammer.
Where is it?
It's further along.
This isn't the end?
Hawthorne, you would know that beyond this, there's a door. You come through the wall. There's a door to this temple. That door would lead out to the living area for the entire community here. And a small cove, a sea cove, a back way out into the ocean.
Now, do I perceive this as like, do I perceive any of what he's seeing? Do I perceive it anything as living quarters? Now, this community you speak of, do I perceive a community?
Not in this room. Though there are parts of this room that are cared for. Like I said, the altar. There's no way that it would still be as clean as it is without someone having cared for the statue of Paladine.
Soft hat. Where?
Would we have to go through the living area to get to the next place? Would I know that?
So this is the private chamber of the leader of this community.
I suggest that before we venture beyond and kick the hornet's nest, that we check the Iron Maiden.
The terms of our deal have not changed. If what we seek is further down that hole, you will retrieve it, you will bring it to me, and I will take you where you need to go. Is that understood? Well, I suppose I could leave you here.
The item is frequently with another man. And if it's not with him, my best guess is that it would be in here, perhaps in that Iron Maiden. That Iron Maiden is a relic tied to that man. It was his.
Then open it. I shall await. I will protect you if anything comes to strike.
As you wish. I slowly approach the Iron Maiden.
Is anybody else looking around, searching for anything, doing anything?
Since there's no hit dice in Dragonlance, no, I am not doing anything. I am going to sit and perhaps try to stem the tide of blood from my leg and keep an eye out down the pathways.
As Groneth would come up beside Rookh-Ohn.
Captain, isn't this enough treasure? Plus what we passed. It's good plunder.
It's not what we're here for. There's something more. I don't just seek riches. I seek glory. If Augarok is to rise, we need something more than gold. What do you seek? What is it you yearn for?
Support you to follow your orders to see your ship become the greatest on the sea.
that starts with trust.
I trust you with my life. You are my brother.
Then tend to yours.
And then he turns away sharply and watches Soft Hat with the Iron Maiden.
You can see eyes inside the Iron Maiden, staring blankly outward through the holes, but it's shut.
I see that, or Soft Hat sees that?
So I'm not gonna call Hawthorne sees that. I respect him too much to call him Soft Hat.
That's the T-shirt though for tonight, everybody. It's just
Yeah.
it's a silhouette of a top hat and it just says soft or something. Or there's a rabbit on the back. Okay, go ahead.
It's a good thing I love you all.
We love you too, buddy. You're stuck with us.
So when I see the eyes, I look over to Rookh-Ohn. You might wanna... Yeah.
I might want to what?
It's occupied, so to speak.
This? What is in it?
Presumably the man whose hammer we're looking for.
So, can we just find his hammer? Why is he I have so many questions.
I will answer any question you have once we're safely on your ship.
Can we look around? Can we see a hammer anywhere? Can we?
Roll me an investigation check.
Ooh, no.
Yeah, you're so smart.
That's a natural 0, everybody. I'm not sure where I am.
Did we go down?
You're in fucking Spelljammer.
Krog is smiling at you, as Groneth.
Oh.
Rookh-Ohn, you don't see a hammer, but you do see, you can sort of make out more of the treasure. There are old artifacts from the Age of Istar here, jewels. You see a lot of very high value items that aren't this hammer, but are worth more than anything you've ever touched in your hand with your life. And let's see. Is Morales not investigating?
I mean, I'd probably take a cursory glance around, but she's kind of salty right now with the way that things are going. So she doesn't want them to fail outright because she knows we're all gonna have to work as a team. But at the same time, go fuck yourself and your orders. Like
she could try harder.
Yeah, I could try harder, but at the same watching the cave entrance because she's a little fucking worried about that spider too. Her leg is distracting her pain. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things going on with her fickle self.
Give me a perception check then, in that case.
It was a 13.
Morala hears whispers through that whistling entrance that you came from. Not coming towards you. They sound far away, and they're getting quieter, not louder. Sounds like voices speaking, but you can't, with a 13, make out actually what they're saying, only that they're getting further away.
I hear voices, she says, drawing out her sword for no real particular need, but as an accentuation on her point.
Because it looks cool too.
Yeah, it really does. Like the anime thing to do.
That's right. Hawthorne, what are you investigating? Because I saw that 21.
I'd be looking for the hammer because I really want that hammer.
You can't find it anywhere. But you do see, as you're checking out the Iron Maiden again, those eyes are like wide open, not angry, not watching you intently, but almost fearful, and they're alive.
Do I recognize the eyes as a specific person?
They definitely look familiar. Definitely not the leader.
I open the Iron Maiden.
You pull the Iron Maiden open. Some of its metallic spikes pull out of the body that's inside. It's an emaciated woman wearing old leather armor, bejeweled leather armor, and you would recognize this as Celeste, the once pirate queen of the Blood Sea. She was infamous in her time, and like many, she came here searching for treasure, and like many, she never left. Celeste, you would know, became one of the consorts to the knight that lived here. Right now, she looks bad. And as you open it, she grasps for you, grasps for your shirt. Help me.
What is that?
As she grasps at him, he draws his rapier and he looks at Rookh-Ohn. Someone of no consequence, and then he stabs her through the heart.
She draws, even though she's impaled on the inside, she draws her own blade. It's a beautiful scimitar, legendary in its time, engraved with old runes from the Age of Might, to try to defend against you, but she is weak, impaled, slow, and her blade falls from her fingers. And as you pierce her heart, she hisses, "You fool. They knew. They're taking the ship."
Balls.
Can we hear this exchange?
Yeah.
Yes.
Our ship?
Soft Hat, what have you not told us?
Well, you see, there's sort of a leader here. That's the person we were looking for to take his hammer. And it appears that he has made everyone else go to get your ship based on what she said.
She's trying to fight you too while you're telling him this.
I concentrate very heavily on his words because I believe we also saw another ship that was crashed. And I don't know a lot about Undeath, but I know that thing is old. Do I think that he's telling the truth about it being our ship that is being taken?
Roll an investigation check. And Hawthorne, as she's trying to reach down and pick up her in rune scimitar that's fallen to the ground, are you still trying to stab? Are you still fighting her?
If she dropped the scimitar, I'd probably kick it away, and I'd kick it towards Rookh-Ohn if I can, and be like, "This is worth a lot. It might be the only thing we're gonna get."
She, so with a 19, and I said investigation, I meant insight, but you rolled a 19, which is sweet. Is he being honest?
As far as he's aware. Because if that other ship was salvageable, they probably would have used it a while ago.
We should go. Protect the ship. Treasure is nothing if we are stranded here.
She opens her mouth and her teeth, her incisors elongate, and she reaches her hand for Hawthorne's head, stretching as far as she can out of the Iron Maiden. Hawthorne, make me a dexterity saving throw. She grabs onto your forehead and you feel a pull on the inside of your mind, and she hisses, "Free me."
Am I near?
You're near, yeah. Roll me an intelligence saving throw, and then
Rookh-Ohn for intelligence, or
Hawthorne in this case.
Six.
Hawthorne, you, and this is something you are very familiar with, you feel your life force, your psychic energy being pulled out through your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth. You lose 6 intelligence, at least for now.
I'm sorry, what?
And we'll say, as you do so, as she feeds on you, for a moment, she pulls herself out of the Iron Maiden, and already she's looking less emaciated. She's looking a little stronger. And then she turns her eyes towards the rest of you.
How
Isn't
close
she
is that
dead?
scimitar?
He kicked it towards Rookh-Ohn.
So I'm gonna pick that up since mine got lost at sea, and I'm gonna brandish it.
To me, everyone, to me.
I charge to my leader's side.
Captain!
All right. And as does Kraga, as does Wolf here, and Baelmir bellowing, grabbing, drawing their own weapons, and rushing this figure. We'll go ahead and do initiative this way. We'll do Rookh-Ohn in the order of spoken. Rookh-Ohn, Marala, Hezgroneth, and then the others. What are you doing?
So Soft Hat is within arm's reach, or is he like grappled, or what's the situation?
She's just kind of broken free of him. He has his Hawthorne has his rapier in hand. He will get a turn here after Rookh-Ohn, since Rookh-Ohn charged. We'll do him and then the others.
Okay, so he's going to strike at her with her own scimitar.
Okay. Roll me an attack. +1. 13. That's a hit.
13. All right, and then damage?
+1.
7.
It sears as it slices through her. You can see the wound, the cut burns and kind of stays. It doesn't necessarily heal. Hawthorne, how is he reacting in this moment?
He would probably... Well, he's not very smart anymore. He would probably grab at her and be very angry and try and use the psychic drain on her.
All right. What's the DC? She saves, right?
Yep.
So you feel now, you can see that line in her forehead pulsing, and you can hear the thump, 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 thump. It's not a heartbeat. She's dead as you are. But she has something that was yours, and now it's hers. And you feel hungrier than you've felt in a century, maybe longer. But she fights you off. Marala.
Closing the Iron Maiden. Does it have the lock on it still somewhere?
Yeah, you could lock it.
Okay, I am going to attempt to force it down on her and lock her inside.
Oh, you're going to try to knock her back into it? She's just pushed out.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to knock her back into it then. I'm okay with that.
Give me a goring rush.
Alright, immediately you have to use the dash action. You make one melee attack with your horns as a bonus action. Yeah, it's a 13.
That is a hit.
All
How much
right.
damage?
8 piercing damage.
All right, and I'll let you do your hammering horns, which is a saving throw, right? See if you can.
Saving throw DC 14. Whoops. Nice.
You do. You charge her and knock her back into the Iron Maiden. She hisses. You don't have an action left to close the Iron Maiden and lock it, but you are able to throw her back into it.
If I use my action surge, would I be able to close it and lock it?
Do you still have your action surge?
We took a long rest, so yes, I do. No, I don't because I
No, you used it against the spider.
Right. Fuck. I try to keep her in there then. Spiders. That's right, I said it.
All right, Hezgronith.
Okay, so Hezgronith would see what she's attempting to do, like knocking back in the Iron Maiden and closing it back up. So he runs forward and pulls his axe out, but instead of attacking, what he's going to do is attempt to finish what Morales started and close this thing up and lock it. He is going to rage, though, as he's getting closer, just thundering his feet as he spits up the cobble and the stone and charges in like his somewhat namesake to smash this thing. What do you need from me?
Just give me an athletics check. Actually, give me 2.
Okay. 15. 17.
You are able to slam the Iron Maiden shut. You can feel the sickening feeling of sharp instruments slowly piercing this undead creature's flesh. You can hear her hiss from the inside, struggle against you. But with a 17 on your second roll, you are able to get that latch shut, to get it locked. And she's thrusting her body against the edge of the inside of the Iron Maiden a couple of times, but without being able to move very much, and with the locking mechanism closed, just like before, she realizes that she can't break free of her own, and she stops.
As soon as she's as soon as she's pounding, attempting that initial struggle, the entire time, Haz is just basically saying, "You should be dead. Just don't be alive anymore. Be dead." As he's closing it, as he feels it going into the flesh, he looks back and he's completely spooked. It's not something that he's saying to be funny. He's genuinely not frightened, but startled as he looks at Rookh-Ohn.
She should be dead.
There are things I cannot explain. Grab a few things from this room. We must retreat to the ship if this is true.
Kraga will throw, and it's sudden too, maybe unexpected even for Hezgronith, but as he looks afraid, she'll throw her arms around him and pull him into a bear hug.
For a moment, he allows himself to be drawn into her fur and her hair.
She should be dead. She should be dead.
But we are alive. We are alive, my love. And she would go in to try to kiss and embrace fully Hezgronith.
Rookh-Ohn moves in and stops it.
The rest of the world does not work how we work. Grab some things and retreat to the ship. I will lead. You will follow.
Yes,
I'll
Captain.
quickly look around the room, try and grab some shit and get the fuck out of there.
And
What does Marala want? Like, what is the most valuable thing that she can grab from this room?
If we're gonna make it out of here alive, I want some treasure. So anything that's shiny, something to prove my metal, my steel, so to speak.
All right,
I want to take a piece of the Iron Maiden with me.
I'll let you. I'll let you chip off a piece just so you can. And also you're able to find very easily master weapons, +1 weapons, quality swords that you've never seen in your life before, for sure.
Fuck yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
How about shields?
Yeah, a kite shield's, the different style probably than what you're used to, but you're able to find as much. I do need Hawthorne to make me a charisma saving throw.
what about a ring too?
Yeah. You in one of the treasure chests, there's a bunch of jewels, and you'll actually find a hand of a old skeletal hand, small enough, looks like it was probably belonged to a human man, maybe large enough for a larger female to wear. There's a scrap of like old, what looks like suit material still clinging to the hand, but there's a ring on it. With a little bit of cleaning, it would be a nice ring.
He takes it and hides it in kind of a inner pouch in his waist.
Hawthorne, you are starving, and all around you, you hear over there, thump, 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 and over there, thump, 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 thump. Everything is food. You are starving, and you are bereft of so much of your mind currently, but with a 20, you haven't lost control yet.
We need to hurry. And I will leave them to their looting and start heading out.
You heard him. Grab your things. We leave now.
I will limp out of the cave as fast as I can.
Marala, stay near me.
As Groneth is leaving, he'll do as instructed. He'll pick up jewels and as much as he can carry, put it inside whatever container he can find, a bucket or something. And as he's leaving, he'll stop and he won't look at the Iron Maiden, but he will whisper, "I'm sorry." And then he'll leave.
It's a long trip back out of the caves, through the rocky wasteland that makes up this foggy island. If your spirits were low before, at least for some of the crew, they're lower now. For Hawthorne, all of his hopes, his imagining that he would finally be free and escape, you feel that slipping out of your fingers. You feel like you've lost to him again. Is there anything anybody's doing on the way back? Is there anything anybody's thinking? Is there anything that they're sharing with the others or that they're keeping to themselves?
I'm helping Marala. So where she struggles to walk, I will support her, even put her arm over my shoulder with shield in front, trying to carry her weight along.
I hang on to him. Family is more important than petty arguments of pride. We can settle this as a clan later in a duel. But for now, we need each other to survive.
His captain said to leave, so Hesgroneth is leaving.
You reach the shore after some time. It's raining again. The crack of the green lightning of the maelstrom in the distance, ever present. When you reach the shore, there's a few things that you see. One, another ship sailing away from the island, not your ship. A little larger than your ship. Hawthorne, roll me a perception check.
Ten.
Roll me an insight check.
11.
You stare off of the ship. You're not sure why, who all is on it, how it came to be, but you've never seen this ship before. You've tracked the trails of your community to the shore, and from the shore they have left. The ship of the Minotaurs of Clan Ogorok, what's left of it is on fire. It's burning. It's been set aflame and recently.
I would let out another scream, much like the night before, as it seems like everything is slipping away.
Hawthorne, roll me another charisma saving throw.
9.
Thump, 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 thump. You know, not much, but you know this. That ship was the only way off your island. And now it's just you and them. And you're so hungry.
I turn to the group of Minotaurs who I'm sure are close together, and with a grin, my fangs extending, I go, well, at least I won't have to die hungry. And I launch forward to attack.
Everyone roll me initiative.
Vampire Minotaur, bite me. Just kidding, I'll chop your top hat off.
8.
That's a 20.
16.
So you see this, specifically Hesgroneth and Morala. You see this happening a moment before he's able to launch himself at you fully. You have an opportunity to act.
Well, if
I'm gonna push Rookh-Ohn out of the way.
Hesgroneth is just going to attack. He saw the fangs come down like the woman that should be dead. And listen, Minotaurs have fought for way less than I'm going to die not hungry. So he charges at him, uses the last rage that he has. And it's a 22 on the Die Hard dice cam, which I will set
Die
back
Hard
up so we
dice.
can... Yep.
Die hard because he's undead? Die hard? Yeah.
22. Does that hit Hawthorne?
Yeah.
All right. Roll that damage.
Let me see. 14 damage.
I would like to use Uncanny Dodge because I see my attacker.
Yeah. So 7 damage.
Ooh. And then rage.
And then rage. So the blade comes in, the axe comes in, and he moves very quickly, much faster than you've seen him move before, maybe. And you clip his shoulder, the top of Hawthorne's shoulder. He doesn't bleed. Marala, it's your turn.
He's not bleeding.
I would push Rookh-Ohn out of the way, and I would charge at him using... Can I use my Goring Rush more than once per day, or is that a...
Yeah,
Every time you dash.
Sweet. So yes, I'd like to use the Goring Rush action. I'd like to try and keep him impaled on my horse and just impaling through him and have him like pulled up by the strength of my head. So mainly.
All right. Make your attack.
That's a nat 20.
All right, roll the damage.
The damage is a 15. And
All
yes,
right.
I would like to try to lift him with my...
Call it hammering horns. Then, like, this is like a reverse hammering horns, right?
Okay.
So yeah, we'll call the mechanics the same as being knocked prone. I think he has to make a strength saving throw, right?
Yes, DC 14.
You mess with the bulls, Mal, you get the horns.
Oh, jeez.
I'm so hungry.
All right.
Yes, this is so epic. I'm sorry, dude.
So she does. She charges and she impales Hawthorne. She raises you up off the ground, Hawthorne. It is your turn, though. You're prone mechanically. You can pull yourself off of just like you would being prone. You can pull yourself off by spending some of your movement action. You can do whatever you'd like here.
Okay, how much damage did I take from Tia's attack?
15.
Okay, I'm going to use Uncanny Dodge again.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe there's like an action required to do it. I'm just attacked.
I think. Is it every single time? Let's see. I always forget. Da-da-da. I think. Do you have to use a reaction? Is that what it is?
I don't have a reaction listed in it.
Cool. All right, so that's a total of 7 damage then that you take from that attack. Yeah, no, it is a reaction. I pulled it up here.
Okay.
So you can only do it once in between your turns. That's what I thought. So you'll take the full 15 from hers this time, but you can use it again between your next turns.
Okay.
When you Google Uncanny Dodge, you get a lot of images for cars.
Always add the 5e when you Google. It's Hawthorne's turn.
Okay. So first I get 5 HP back for being a vampire. And then I will grapple Marala and attempt to psychic drain her.
Okay.
I will be right back. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll go ahead and roll for you here, real quick. I think there's people
great.
coming in.
Intelligence save.
Yeah. Does she have to make an athletics check versus you?
For grapple, yeah, it's
Yeah. Opposed athletics, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got her.
What's athletics?
What is it? Did I do the thing? I did the thing. So she manages to hold you off. You're impaled on her horns, and she manages to keep you pushed off of her.
Okay, but she's still within 60 feet, so I can still psychic drain her.
You can still psychic drain. So you need to make an intelligence saving throw, Tia.
It was a 10.
No.
Drink it deeply.
So, do you want me to roll the
Oh yeah, go ahead and roll it.
D6 then?
Funky cold morale.
You don't want me to
I'm not
roll
muted.
for you. We've learned that in this game.
She takes 6 intelligence damage.
Morala, you lose 6 intelligence as you feel the psychic energy being pulled out of your ears, your nose, your mouth. It feels like somebody's tearing your head apart. Hawthorne, as you feel this rush coming towards you, first off, how much intelligence do you have left?
I have the intelligence of 4 now, which means I can understand about the basic commands of a dog.
Great, that's all I need.
What's Hawthorne doing next?
I will. I will use a bonus action to disengage, and then I will move my speed of 40 away. Because getting hit this many times was not fun.
All right. You were able to get 35 feet away because you have to pull yourself up from being prone. So you see him just like the Pirate Queen fed off of him. You see Hawthorne feed off of Morala. You see her face change. Whatever that means, it changes. Rookh-Ohn, it is your turn now.
Now, him fleeing doesn't elicit a opportunity attack from anyone?
No, I believe you're a rogue, right? You have...
He disengaged, yeah.
Yeah. So no, he doesn't take opportunity attacks because he disengaged. Using uncanny action.
Chase him.
So Rookh-Ohn brandishes the scimitar and the shield and dashes after Soft Hat.
Are you
And
using
then-
your Goring Rush?
Goring Rush and Hammering Horns.
All right, go for it.
All right. 7.
No. All right. Follow. Does he do anything else on his turn? You just can't quite get there, Rookh-Ohn. You're
Right.
charging.
Yeah, that was everything. If I don't hit with Goring Rush, then there's no Hammering Horns.
What's Hawthorne's AC?
15 with his sword out, I believe.
Okay. So he will get hit with 2 flying javelins as the other 3, Krog included, are chasing him down for 14 and 7.
Ouch.
And then it has Gronith's turn once again.
Okay, so how far away is he from? He's 20 feet away from us because he had to break movement. He went prone, so that was half movement to get away. And then if he had 40
so
total...
20 left. Yeah, so he's 20 feet away from you right now.
Okay, so has
I
Gronith's
would
going
like
to charge...
to use Uncanny Dodge on the first
On
javelin.
the 14. So you only take 14 total then.
Yep.
Has Gronith's going to charge in as he goes past Morala and sees her, grabbing at her head. Has Gronith's not scared, but he this is very much like that Iron Maiden, and he doesn't like any of it. So as he's running forward, the electricity goes between his eyes again as he jumps up in the air and brings his axe down. He wants to end Soft Hat.
Oh no. All right, take that attack.
19.
That's a
Yeah.
hit. And he has to make a dexterity saving throw, correct?
Yep, and I'll take the 15. So that'd be 15 damage, and then it's a DC 13 dex save.
Made the save.
So you just take 1 or 2, whatever.
Take
a spark.
A spark. So he comes down through the air with the axe. The lightning again, the green lightning flashes down from the sky. It feeds through the axe. You're struck for 16 damage. How's that leave Hawthorne?
Well, it's not good, but I also remembered that anything that's non-magic, slashing, piercing, bludgeoning, I should be taking half of.
Yep, so 14. Yeah, so the only non-magic damage you've taken so far is the 1.
The 2 javelins at least, right?
That's right, yeah. So that's that 14 would become a 7. Is he still up?
With that extra 7 from remembering that, yes, he's still up.
But you take the full thrust of this this axe. His Gronith hits you with. It is Morala's turn before Hawthorne's turn.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Oh, no, never mind. That's a bonus attack, and I used my bonus to turn on the Storm Surge. Never mind.
I give chase because I see everybody else chasing things, and that's the only thing I can think about. And if I can catch up to him, I will take a swing with my longsword.
You can. He's only 20 feet away from you right now. That's a hit.
13 damage. That will be my action. I'll be right back again. I'm sorry.
She hits you for 6 damage then with your resistance. Is he up?
1
hit point. So you're being surrounded at this point, Hawthorne. You're less hungry than you were, but you realize that you've started something you don't know if you can stop. And you have a moment now as these minotaurs are all charging you, swarming you. You've been abandoned by your people. You can see the ship sailing away. You don't know who or how, but you see it's beyond your reach now. What does Hawthorne do?
I think of many things in a very short amount of time. And then I move past the crowd of them and into the water.
Do you go towards the maelstrom or away from the maelstrom?
Towards it.
As you use your cunning action to break away and rush into the running water, the blood sea, you can see the flash of the green fire and the lightning in the distance. That great storm that said to rise above the doorway to hell. And just like before, there's a crash of lightning. And you see a different vision this time. And you see Avern again. There, the way she was, dancing at the party you attended with her the last day that you were alive, when you first met Sir Leon Barnabas. You remember how gracefully she moved with her sister, her friend, Learly. You remember the times you spent together, and then there's another flash. You're in a dark woods. You see Rookh-Ohn carrying Avern through the woods. She's weak, barely awake, pale, bleeding, accompanied by a knight, but a knight of the crown, not a knight of the divine hammer, by a woman wearing black robes and another woman wearing white and red. Strange. You last saw Avern almost 400 years ago, but there she looks in this vision, just like she did then, almost. Maybe a few more scars. But there's Rookh-Ohn, and he doesn't look much older either. You can feel the blood sea burning your skin, your flesh away. You can feel your mind starting to dissipate. You know that if you leave this water, what you will become, what fate awaits those of your kind when you die a second death And the water is the only thing that can free you from that. As you're standing there and the minotaurs are watching you dissolve, your body melt away, you have a moment to do something or to say something, to make one final choice. You're standing there at the edge of the Blood Sea, looking at Rookh-Ohn and the others.
I turn and I take my hat off and I set it in the water and let it go. And I shout at Rookh-Ohn, when you meet her, when you meet Avren, tell her I loved her. Tell her Hawthorne loved her. And then I fall into the water.
The crimson waves crash up over the body of the creature, the man, the figure that you knew as Hawthorne. You can see an arm for a moment, just bone, just bleached bone, and then that disappears too, beneath the Red Sea. It's just what's left of your crew now. No ship. No answers, really. The storm.
Rookh-Ohn runs after, tries to find scraps where Soft Hat faded into the tide. Angry, challenging. He's taking the burning of the ship, the loss of his crew, taking everything out on this spot of the ocean that contains nothing. Yelling at the top of his lungs, throwing water into the air, digging his hands into the sand and chucking it backwards, hoping to find something.
Just his hat, still floating on the top of the waves. Nothing else.
He looks up, takes it, crushes it down into a portable size, looks at it through its hole, collapses to his knees in the tide and holds on, grips it so hard that it compromises the structure.
What does Morala do?
With an intelligence of 4, I would walk up to him, put my hand on his shoulder. No sad. No sad. Only happy. She hugs him.
Rookh-Ohn doesn't hug her back. Rookh-Ohn takes a hand firmly placed against her torso and shoves her off. He drops the hat in the tide. Reminiscent of his duty now, he looks around.
We are champions. We are a nation of builders. We have risen for much more than this. We must repair what we can of the ship, even if we use pieces of our own to repair the pirate galleon out at sea. We have to return home. This is not for nothing. We must return home. Are you with me?
Roll a
Yes,
persuasion
Captain.
check.
14.
Wolf here and Baomir grunt an affirmation. They take a single step forward. And Wolf here says, "We always rise. That is our way, the way of Aguruk." Kraga does not respond. How does his Gronoth respond?
Oh, has Gronoth definitely.
Yeah, yeah, Captain.
And he takes that moment where he's had the fright, and he sees Morala, and he sees everyone that they've lost to get here, and their burning ship, and something about the
I'm
speech
sure this is great, though.
something about the speech that they could hear me. Something about the speech that Rookh-Ohn just gave. It turns away from that startled and surprised and that fear that he just can't identify, that he felt down in the crypts, and he wants to feed off of what his brother has just said. He wants to in the middle of this storm cast a ray of sunlight, and so he turns towards Kraga and he fishes into his waistband and pulls out the ring that he found in the treasure room, and he drops to both knees in front of her.
Would you honor me?
And he just lifts it and drops his head.
She reaches down and grasps his hand, one of hers beneath, one above, and she slides the ring out of his hand. She tries to put it on her finger. It's a tight fit, but she forces it on. She works hard to get it onto her finger, and it takes effort. But she's smiling all the time. And she says, "You are the greatest of our clan that I have ever known. I am proud to be yours, and I am proud for you to be mine."
No!
Rookh-Ohn shouts. He slowly lumbers over to the scene.
No. You are not to be his. Not yet.
You do not have a choice in this, Captain.
What is going on?
I am who I want to be with. I want him. That is for myself to decide, not for you, Rookh-Ohn.
You are to have the greater of the two.
Rookh-Ohn throws his scimitar in the sand, throws his shield off.
What is going on?
Hasgroneth,
What?
I challenge you.
No. No. You are my captain. My brother.
This is sacred.
Why?
I love her.
What? You didn't tell what? I don't understand. She picked me.
But I have the power. This is not for you to choose. I have challenged you. Make your decision.
It's for her.
It is for her.
She chooses us. She chose me.
She deserves the better of the two. There's
She is
one
not
way.
something to be owned.
I issue the commands. We
You
fight.
did.
We fight.
You fight with yourself. She
So
picked
then-
me.
So then you back away. You cower from the challenge. Who is the better now, Kraga?
I see nothing but a madman. Too long under the green storm. Just like the old one. Someone should tie you to a mast.
The challenge remains. Accept or deny. You know the implications.
He looks at Kragan.
She shakes her head a little bit and takes a step closer to Hasgronoth and then looks hurt towards Rookh-Ohn. She says, I choose the one with the greater heart. I love Hasgronoth. I choose his heart. And in equal measure, Rookh-Ohn, I deny yours.
You are my crew. You do as I say. Kraga, away!
Do not talk to her like that.
I talk to her as I please.
He takes the axe off his back and throws it into the sand.
You are captain of a burned boat. You have said things that make me question whether or not you are still there. If you want to fight, talk to her that way again.
Rookh-Ohn rears up, tenses all of his muscles, rolls his neck out, looks to Kraga.
I said away.
She
And that's when the lightning
stands-
comes.
She will try to put herself between the two of you.
He will definitely not go through her if she's...
Please, no. Choose heart.
I will not lose. I will show you. I am the one. I have blazed my trail through nothing to get to this point. I am the leader of a ship. I have earned that right through nothing but my own will.
You are a leader of ash, and that has nothing to do with the boat. You've already lost so much.
Rookh-Ohn takes a hand on Kraga and shoves her out of the way.
And that's when the lightning comes, as soon as he touches her.
As Rookh-Ohn and Hasgronoth meet each other in a duel, in a challenge, the rest of what's left of your crew watching, stunned in horror. Green lightning flashes in the distance of the maelstrom, that mad storm. They are not alone in the sea. A fleet of other ships are approaching the island. Ships crewed by draconians and cruel humans, slavers. That's all another story, though. This was a story of falls. The story of why we are the way we are. And the story of love. And that is where our story is going to end for tonight.
But who gets the girl?
So that's the end of our episode. We do have the subscriber poll in chat. If you are a subscriber, vote in that poll. It has implications that matter to the story. If you're not a subscriber, and now is a good time to become one. Every week we do a subscriber poll where you get to influence just for being here and for supporting the channel. But that is that. Wow, this was an episode. We unpacked a lot of stories. We tied a lot of things together. And none of it would have been possible without Mal being here playing Hawthorne. So thank you. This story would not have happened without you. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved Soft Hat, which, and I love that his hat survived. And so there's things that happen that will impact our current storyline, many of them. And I'm really excited about that. But now I want to go around in a circle and let everyone say hi, how we're doing, where we can find you, anything you want, really. That's your time. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Tia and Marala. I love Marala so much, and it made like one of the saddest things of a very sad episode is how she ended up at the end, and in some ways, maybe even worse than death in some ways.
Yeah, she's never really going to fulfill her true purpose. It was crazy playing a fighter, no magic, to someone that doesn't even believe in magic. I was so intimidated the way this episode started out as a role player. Bill's song moved me to my core. Greg's entrance, Mal just fucking destroying it. And I usually don't have nerves when I'm role playing. It's something that I feel very, very comfortable in, which is kind of a good segue into the next thing is comfortable role playing spaces. And as a female identifying in the D&D community, I am so blessed by the people around me. I have great guys and gals around me, but at this particular moment, I'm going to say thanks to my trans males, and non-binaries that create safe places for women to game in. There is a lot of terrible stuff right now, and I don't even want to say names, but those of you that are involved in the online social media of the TTRPG space know exactly what I'm talking about. Chat, right at the end, you guys are phenomenal, standing together, being strong, knowing that some of the decisions that were being made in roleplay today weren't necessarily the right ones, but it helps build character development. But we know to become strong, to stand strong together against violence and abuse. And I want us all to do our part to make this place safe and strong for each other. Believe survivors.
Absolutely. Believe survivors. Never stop valuing good people. When we stop caring about whether or not a person is good or bad for any reason, for personal gain or anything, that's us. Then we're the bad guys. And what I love about all these people is that they're all great people. I love the people on this channel and this cast. They're just really fantastic human beings, thoughtful, kind human beings. The people in chat are kind, good human beings. And we should continue to hold ourselves to that. And that's all I have to say about it. But thank you for sharing that, Tia. And I love Marala. I love Marala. You're a great Minotaur. I was so happy.
Being a warrior is so like this campaign pushes me in a lot of ways that I wasn't comfortable in role playing spaces, but I'm really glad because it makes D&D new again to me. Being Sergeant Sweetpine, being Marala, being these things that I thought that I had thrown off those cloaks long ago, but man, being a warrior is kind of fucking fun. Being a minotaur is badass.
Right. You've been a Kender and a Minotaur warrior. Those are two things I'm sure you probably promised yourself.
Never swore off Kender for certain and swore off warriors when I was like 15. So to do this and to have these opportunities and play with this amazing cast is something that is so much fun. And I will always remember the zealotry joke.
That was great. It was good. I gotta find that clip. Awesome.
I love you guys so much. It's such an honor to role play with all of you.
Very much feel the same way. Let's go ahead and go over to Bill next. Bill, and Bill, how are you doing? First off, loved the song at the beginning. I didn't know what to expect. Obviously you told me you were going to do it, but that was fucking awesome, man.
I'm glad you guys dug it. It happened like, those moments where you just get blindsided by something and you just have to write for some reason. It was a sea shanty. But yeah, thanks for letting me do it. Thanks to Mal for making this episode happen and for being such a cool, intriguing character that I'm sorry that I had to be so aggressive towards, but it's in my nature. And everybody for playing along and playing these characters, and Don as the DM, all the YouTube folks watching, everybody in chat. This has been super awesome. I love watching your reactions to all this stuff, and then seeing seeing it on Twitter and seeing your reactions. I never imagined that I could be a part of something like this, and this is really fucking cool, y'all. So thank you for everything, and for making this environment happen, and to have cool people that aren't assholes, to have that world to be in is really, really rewarding, because some of us are just looking for a good escape at the end of a day. In a world full of assholes, it's nice to have a room that doesn't have any.
Speaking of, and I think this is important, not just because of what's going on right now in the community, but also because of this episode. Rookh-Ohn, you talk about this idea of toxic masculinity, which is something that the community is really fighting with right now. And this is something that Rookh-Ohn's fighting with as well in the storyline. What we saw today, I didn't know what you were going to do, but now so many things about Rookh-Ohn make sense.
So much sense.
So much sense. And it's hard to play a bad guy because in moments in this episode, he's a very bad guy, and he's the kind of guy that is very dangerous to our personal community. He's the kind of person that we have to deal with frequently. And you played him honestly. And despite all of the decisions you made, chat still voted for when in the subscriber poll, when they said, should Rookh-Ohn be forgiven for his actions in this episode, they still said everyone deserves a second chance. And so did it change?
It's tied.
Oh no. Oh
so
no.
I don't know what you want to do with that, as it is a dead heat between.
I think life is uncertain. What's right and what's wrong is sometimes hard to discern.
Friends, just lost my earphones, so you can't hear anybody, so we will be right back.
All right, we're back. So long story short, we continue to exist in uncertainty of knowing if Rookh-Ohn will be redeemed or not. With a 7-7 vote, does he deserve a second chance? Well, we'll let the story continue to decide that for us. I think that's kind of the fun way to handle that and the right way to handle it. That's all I have to say about Rookh-Ohn for myself before I pass it off to Mal and then Greg. Everybody, thank you for being here, for supporting the channel. We're going to have more extra guest stars coming up, it looks like, which is super cool. I love these. I love exploring the nuances of the characters and the complexities of them. It's my favorite thing, and I love playing with all of you guys. You guys are amazing people, wonderful people. We have a lot of awesome things coming up for the channel and for the show that I'm very excited about, and I just feel very grateful to the entire community for being here. That's all. If you're out and about in the community, if you're free on a Sunday night, check out the new show. Well, there's a couple of them. I'll let Greg talk about Highlander, but I'm in the Pulp Cthulhu show, the new one. It is Project Hyperion. It is awesome. Allison, who's not here tonight, is the keeper for that, and she's kicking ass. She's knocking it out of the park. I'm really excited about that. That's what I'll shout out here. And then I want to hear from Mal. Mal, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for giving us Hawthorne and for giving us this story, the opportunity to tell it. How are you doing, buddy?
Ouch. Yeah, I think that sums it up. I'm gonna, as soon as we cut, I'm gonna go dig out a bunch of candy that I just received today from a friend, and I'm gonna eat a whole lot of it till I feel better or get sick, whichever happens first.
Buddy.
That being said, it was a blast, and I didn't see that coming that way, but it definitely was impactful. And all the best stories have an impact, and sometimes they're sad. It's the way things are. I had a blast. I'm glad that I got to come back. I'm really tempted to donate in Project Hyperion to guest there because I really want to play some Cthulhu. Yeah, I mean, you guys are all great, and I'm really glad to get to play with Tia this time. So now I just need to check Allison off my list, I guess.
What I loved about Hawthorne's character is I really saw the line from the beginning to the end, even in just 2 episodes, to try to cover 400 years and a lot of changes for a character, but still at the very end, at the very final moment, the way you brought it home, I loved it, and that provided good storytelling opportunities for everybody else involved, the rest of the cast moving forward, and I just think that's the coolest thing. It's so cool. And thank you again.
Plus, they still have to deal with Barnabas, and I don't.
Yeah, they do.
I loved your character so much, dude. Thank you for playing with us. It was so fucking good.
Thanks. It was a blast.
Speaking of a blast, Greg.
Like, I put it in chat, in the backstage chat, whenever you were talking about assholes, I was certain that the segue was to me. I was certain that it was, speaking of assholes, here's Greg. I had a great time, Mal. I'll mirror what Billy said. Thanks so much for making this all possible, because we do these because we have fantastic people that want to be a part, and Don puts it all together, and we get a chance to do all these fantastic shows, and it's just a lot of fun. And I did have a ton of fun, with the exception of not being able to scratch my nose for the past 4.5 hours, which is sucked. Bad. So I'm going to be taking, I don't know how you do it every week, brother, but I just wanted to say, before we get any further, we have got something to do. Here they are again, everybody. Look at those bad boys. Look at them. Drink them, man. Drink them, man.
I can't wait to get mine.
Okay, so everybody, here's what I want you to do. As you look at those wonderful dice from Die Hard Dice on the screen, I would like you now in chat to type one word for me. One single word, and that word is bull. B-U-L-L. Bull. And as you type it in, we are going to enter all of the bull in to our sweepstakes, our little giveaway here. And next week, we will be giving away those. Let's look at them again, everybody. God, look at those dice again. Look at them. Just drink them in. They're beautiful. And just so you know, Don picked those out himself because, Don, those are the... Whose dice are those?
They are part of I think for copyright reasons, we're calling it the Death Knight set, but I think we all know who it is.
Soft. So, yeah. Yeah, so look for a lot of really fun stuff coming this way. And then also, I'll throw this back up in chat. Everyone, if you go and you would like to say, hey, I want to get a pair of these dice, I want to get a set of this, a set of that, go in there, type in the coupon code The Grim, all one word, The Grim, and you will get 15% off your next order. Look at these dice. Look, can you see those?
Oh my god, those are so fucking pretty, dude!
I know, they are the best. And I mean, those are the nicest dice I own, and I've been doing this for 30 years, so they are fantastic. Please visit them, and then please, obviously, I see so many people have entered, so you can get the Die Hard soft dice. What did I say? That's not right. We'll get sued for that, so it's Death Knight. Anywho,
Fix it in post.
Right. Grimjack21502 on the Twitter. You are on Tales from the Grim from the Twitch. The only thing that I will promote is this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern before Project Hyperion. We have Highlander If on a Winter's Night, the first narrative episode. If you would like to catch the episode 0 where Tall Squall and Bird and Jonathan Pruitt and Alice from Scraticus Academy and Summer and Trendane all created and revealed their immortals, you're going to want to catch this. It is a cipher system, homebrew narrative splash. And we are going to do some PvP. There's going to be a gathering, and in the end, there can be only one. So
what a cast! Holy shit!
Yeah, and yeah, Christopher Lambert, he'll be there too. So let's make sure that we get into the Highlander, get into the May Black Roses Bloom. We've got Dungeon the Mad Mage tomorrow night. Another chance to win different dice. Oh, what did I say? Something like that. And then a lot of
win?
What? Sure, I don't care. But no, I don't think we're allowed to do that. No, wait. I mean, no, we can't do. I just heard that corporate just came in. Anyway,
yeah.
Does anybody have anything else to say before I let you go? Okay, so there's only one thing left. When the campfire dies down, there's only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s unless you have Die Hard dice, but you can always role play. We'll see you next time, friends.